Hello? Let's call this meeting to order. Everybody please stand up. Remove your hats, everybody.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. God of the universe, look thou with favor upon these here assembled, and bestow thy guidance upon the members of the governing body in their deliberations. This we ask in thy name. Amen.
Amen. Okay, another beautiful day here at Linden. Why don't we get started? In the event of an emergency, please, everybody knows this, the routine, use the back doors and, calmly run, straight out. I'm practicing how to be a stewardess in case this job doesn't work out. Also, I'm collecting cell phones, so if you want me to take your cell phone, please let it ring. I will gladly send somebody to pick it up and give it away. That was sarcasm for turn it off. Any member of the public wishing to speak during the public comment session at the end of the meeting, please sign in. There should be a sign-up sheet on the front. The white sheets provided at the front of the room. If you wish to speak at the public hearing on the 2015 municipal budget, please sign in on the purple sheets at the front of the room. First, we'll be doing the budgeting, so anybody that needs to sign in, please sign in now. We went over the cell phones already. Mr. Bode, can you please call the roll?
Mrs. Hickey?
Here.
Medina?
Here.
Yamakaitis?
Here.
Midachinko?
Here.
Sadowski?
Here.
Crosby Hurling?
Here.
Brooks?
Here.
Brown?
Here.
Byer?
Here.
Colbus?
Here.
Mr. Alvarez?
Here.
Read the last one.
Approving the minutes of the March 17, 2015 regular meeting. I need a motion.
Council President, I make a motion to approve the minutes of March 17, 2015, and ask for a second, please.
Second.
Mrs. Hickey?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Yamakaitis?
Yes.
Midachinko?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Crosby Hurling?
Yes.
Brooks?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Byer?
Yes.
Colbus?
Yes.
Mr. Alvarez?
Yes. To start off today, we have a couple of presentations. Mr. Brown, Mayor, is the football team here?
Coach Candia.
Coach Candia?
Good evening, everybody. Today we are here, tonight we are honoring Dion Candia. He's our football coach. And Dion did something exceptional this year. He brought Linden our first Division Group 4 high school championship. I believe it was it 30 years, Dion, or 35 years?
30 years.
It was 30 years. Believe me, and it took a lot of hard work. I've watched Coach Dion here since he was involved in Pop Warner. He's always been dedicated. He loves the children more than he loves the game itself. And I commend him for all he's done for our city. He put us back on the map football-wise again, and we thank him for that. Now, but we have I come tonight with mixed emotions because the coach has basically this is his last year. He's going on to receive his doctorate, and I'm very happy for him in that respect, but I guess his gain and whoever else's gain is going to be our loss. But he's going to still be around to help our children, because I know again, I'll say this, he loves the children more than he loves the game itself, and that's a winning combination, and I'm sure that we're going to have more winners to come because he's still going to be involved. And I just want to thank him from the bottom of my heart for all he's done for not just this city, not just our football program, but for this city as well. So thank you, Coach, and I'm going to read this resolution for you. Okay? And it says, it's a resolution honoring the Linden High School football team 2014 state champions. Whereas the Linden High School football team has demonstrated the finest qualities of champions during their successful season with 10 wins and only 2 losses, and winning the NJSIAA New Jersey Section 2 Group 5 championship at MetLife Stadium on December 6, 2014. And whereas this season's accomplishments by this team are truly outstanding, as they represent the first championship in 29 years and the first ever sectional title in Linden's history, and whereas the members of the City Council of the City of Linden are pleased to honor the members of the Linden High School football team for their outstanding and exemplary efforts in achieving athletic excellence. Whereas the members of the Linden High School football team, led by Coach Dion Candia, assistant coaches Al Chiola, Mike Solera, Anthony Reesno, Al Reesno, Ray Renek, thank you, Monty, I'm Councilman, Terrence Brown, and Jimmy Smith, head trainer Roger Rotundi, and assistant trainer Marissa Radis, along with a lot of determination and sacrifice, achieved the team's highest goals. And whereas the mayor and the City Council of the City of Linden wish to congratulate team members Tamir Hinton, Jawan Dolbrice, Gerson Guillaume, Khalil Burns, Maslin Pierre, Dante Waldron, Samad Starling, Antoine Powell, Elijah Harrison, Jatis Wright, Corey Amphy, Daniel Kyle, Kyle Phipps, Elijah Myers, Trevon Hodge, Amon Hodge, Christopher Coley, Tyrese Johnson, Kyle Chester, Matthew Ravioli, Cameron Slayton, Schwan Johnson, Jaden Johnson, Terrell Johnson, Maurice Garner, Devon Williamson, Dashawn Simmons, Daree Parker, Guy Morris, Hendricks Vernat, Dazir Anderson, Pierre Aladdin, Juan Duran, Rasan McCall, Justice Green, Noel Diaz, Takudzwa Tayuvinga, Justin Alcon, Jarrell Van Derve, Zaijan Small, Robert Carabali, Ralph Vargas, Cameron Yadell, Wesley Jamraz, Gregory Blaine, Evans Andelson, Maximilian Burgos, Earl Matthews, Vaughn Cutler Hill, Mike Charles, Najee Jackson Farrar, Omar Magna, Danielle Kroc, Michael Medina, Wilner Luis, Terrence Pierre, Prince Jamal Ligon, Robert Godenzi, William Iguera, and Nicholas Lapinski. And now, therefore, be resolved by the Mayor and Council of the City of Linden, we do hereby congratulate the 2014 Linden High School football team on their historic accomplishment, and be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution be entered into the minutes of the Council of the City of Linden, and that copies be presented to members of the team and coaching staff in permanent recognition of their achievement. Congratulations. I just figured out why Peter Brown doesn't like to read these resolutions. All those names. Anyway, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention, some men have better halves, and I always refer to some men, they have better three-quarters. Okay, and behind every good man is a good woman. And I will say this, Mrs. Candia is out there for every football game. She does wonders with the moms and the parents, and aside from 1,000 other activities that I see her involved in, I mean, it takes there's no I in the word team, and she is just as important to this football program as anybody else, any of the other coaches, and Deion will attest to that himself, right, Deion?
Absolutely.
He better when he's got to go home tonight. So anyway, I want to thank you too, Mrs. Candia, for all your efforts this year. Okay, and once again, thank you.
First of all, I apologize for my attire. I just actually came from a track meet. I'm coaching track. And a lot of our kids, well, all of our kids are involved in other things. So they have either rugby, track, or something. So it's been a challenge to get everybody here. But I definitely appreciate all the support. And I know if my boys were here, they would say the same thing. It means a lot for us to do this, 29 years. And the thing that is most remarkable about our season is that all the kids, they love this town. And I think that's a tribute to everyone here, to the board, to everyone that votes and supports things as the parks, the different programs for our kids, because all of our kids felt that they were supported and have always been supported. It brought such a pride. And it's been tough games, and I always talk to my kids about digging deep and having a reason for why you do certain things. And one of the common reasons has always been for our town of Linden. So I appreciate the opportunity to be able to coach young men, but I also appreciate to work in a fine town like Linden. Thank you for everything and all that you guys do for our kids and our youth at Linden. I'm gonna be around, you know that. Small token for the board. We have a plaque, and we also have a copy of the game for all the board members.
Thank you, Coach. Thank you much. Mayor, can you just stay there? Can you get those other...
Councilwoman Yamakaitis, can you come to the front, please? You're in trouble. Not here, down there. Okay. Sorry, Michelle. I just wanted to make you walk. I'm sorry. We're going to hold it till next month. The next presentation is to honor some gentlemen that did an outstanding job here in Linden. And Chief, where's the chief?
Is the chief here?
Chief Schulhafer, can you come to the front, please? We want to honor Chris Henney. Can you please come up? Eric Rios and John Lacheras for their acts of heroism in rescuing a motorist from a burning vehicle. Let's give them a big hand.
Good evening. We normally give out capes to superheroes, but we're all out of capes, so we have to give you resolutions and plaques. But what these gentlemen did was nothing more than spectacular. They came upon an accident. They extracted the victim from the car. They extinguished the fire, and they called 911. And what could have been a potentially deadly scene turned out to be much better because of their actions. And I can't thank them 1,000 times, couldn't thank them enough for what they did. And we really appreciate people like you. We need to have more people who will take action when they see a problem. So once again, we don't have capes. We ran out of capes, so you're going to get resolutions tonight, guys. The resolution reads, a resolution acknowledging and honoring Chris Henney, J.O., John LaCharis, and Eric Rios' quick thinking and heroism. Whereas on January 23, 2015, a vehicle driven by Tadeusz Smolowski was traveling south on Lower Road, left on the roadway and struck a PSE&G utility pole, catching fire. And whereas 3 employees of DAS, Chris Henney J.O., John LaCharis, and Eric Rios, heard the crash, and realizing the seriousness of the situation with smoke coming out from under the hood, took quick action. And whereas Chris Henney rushed towards the vehicle, opened the driver's door, and pulled the driver from the vehicle to a safer area. And whereas J.O. John LaCharis grabbed the fire extinguisher from inside DAS and used it to extinguish the vehicle fire, while Eric Rios contacted emergency services for assistance. And whereas the Linden Police and Fire Departments responded to attend to Mr. Smolowski, and he was subsequently transported to UMDNJ Hospital, where he later succumbed to his injuries. And whereas there is no doubt that the decisive action of these 3 individuals prevented an already dangerous situation from becoming worse. And whereas the Mayor and Council of the City of Linden wish to recognize the quick thinking and heroism of Chris Henney J.O., John LaCharis, and Eric Rios. Now therefore it be resolved by the Mayor and Council of the City of Linden that they commend Chris Henney J.O., John LaCharis, and Eric Rios for their acts of heroism and thank them for not hesitating to help the person in need. And be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution be fittingly presented to Chris Henney J.O., John LaCharis, and Eric Rios, and be placed in the minutes of the City Council of the City of Linden in permanent recognition of their actions. And I would also like to thank Officer Conk and Chief Schulhafer for bringing this to our attention, because sometimes as a governing body, we hear about things, but we just don't hear all the detail. And so, again, I'd like to thank you 2 gentlemen for bringing this to our attention, particularly Officer Conk, who was kind of like the driving force behind making sure these 2 gentlemen, well, these 3 gentlemen were recognized. Did we get a picture with Dion? We didn't get a picture, did we? Let Dion come in. We're going to get a picture. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mayor. Next presentation is going to be the budget. Before that, I will have Councilman Brown say a couple of words. Peter? Okay, Mrs. Sack, you want to come forward to the middle, please? Everybody, please, let's keep quiet. We're going to turn the lights off. Can everybody on the council go to the other side so we can take a better look at the presentation? Mrs. Sack will be giving the presentation for the 2015 budget. We have a friendly bet that it's only going to take 11 minutes. So I'm going to be taking time because I know she's going to make me look good today.
Good evening, everyone. I would just like to take this opportunity to thank the mayor and council for allowing me to present the 2015 municipal budget. The 2015 municipal budget is $100,371,367.38. It's significantly below last year's 2014 municipal introduced budget. The budget is broken down into two operating categories, salary and wages and other expenses. The salary and wages is $44,460,652.07, which represents the total of 570 municipal employees, 475 full-time, 95 part-time. Of the part-time, 52 are crossing guards. And we've substantially reduced the number of manpower since 2007. Over 115 positions, full and part-time, have been eliminated. The other category is your other expenses, which represents the operational budgets for each of the various departments and the mandatory expenses. That totals $55,910,715.31 for a grand total of expenditures of $100,371,367.38. The appropriations are broken down into various categories. The largest category, and probably the most important, is our public safety, which represents $29,342,925.86, or roughly 29.23% of the budget. The public safety comprises of our fully paid police department, fire department, central dispatch, and OEM. The next largest category is our insurances. This covers all health insurances, general liability insurances, workers' comp insurances, which is $18,325,900, or roughly 18.26% of all total general appropriations. The next largest category is our public property and community services department. This department has been consolidated through the years and has probably eliminated the most manpower and has been reconsolidated into a bunch of smaller departments into one large department for the total of $13,498,942.41, or roughly 13.45% of our total budget. The Consolidation Committee continues to look at other avenues of savings where we could eliminate certain positions, and the city's taken on the mantra of doing more with less. This is definitely one department where that has occurred. The next largest category is our statutory expenses at $10,980,848, or roughly 10.94%. The statutory expenses include your pension costs, your Social Security, your FICA, your unemployment. Those are mandated expenses the municipality must budget for. The next largest category is our debt service, which is $10,275,450, or roughly 10.24% of all total appropriations. The other category is our general government. This is where all the smaller departments are put under the general government category, which is roughly $9,879,901.11, or 9.84% of our total appropriations. This includes the city clerk's office, the finance department, the tax assessor, the tax collector, and all smaller departments under general government. We have our reserve fund collected taxes of $3,978,000, or roughly 3.96% of total appropriations. The reason why a municipality has to have a reserve fund collected taxes, under state statute, we're obligated to give the county 100% of their tax levy, and we have to give the Board of Ed 100% of their tax levy. As a municipality, we never collect 100% of taxes. Our tax collection rate this year has been on the rise. It's over 98%. So we have to budget an amount of reserve for uncollected taxes, which roughly is $3,978,000. Our utilities for our 23 buildings consist of $2,294,000, or roughly 2.29%. We are looking to reduce that number. We go into various co-ops. We're very aggressive in looking to reduce expenses wherever possible for utilities, gas. We look for shared services wherever possible, but we do have 23 facilities that we have to take into account. And the last category is our library. The library is $1,795,400, or roughly 1.79%. 4 years ago, the state told all municipalities that we had to take that and keep that separate so the taxpayers could see what the library cost is. The city of Linden could budget less than the $1,795,000, but the governing body felt very important to budget a larger amount than the minimum, which was $1,610,000, that the state had said that would be the minimum we could budget, because the library has done so much for the residents of Linden. So this gives you an idea of where our appropriations are. The next slide's going to show you where our revenues are, and you'll see a drastic change over just a 10-year period in our state aid, which is one of our most significant revenues. Back in 2005, it made up roughly 31.80% of all our total general revenues. Now, it only makes up 19.84%. We've been at the same level of state aid at $19,900,000 for the last 8 years. Back 10 years ago, we were at $23,789,000. So the governing body had to, unfortunately, look for other revenues, which basically have remained level over the last 10 years, and the amount to be raised by taxation had to change because of the loss of the state aid. So our reliance back in 2005 was 43.95%. Now it's 56.70%. There are a lot of redevelopment projects that are on the rise in Linden, so we're hopeful within the next several years that reliance on the amount to be raised will decrease, and other revenues you'll see increase through various host community benefits and other reoccurring revenues being brought into the city. Our surplus is at 4.98% in 2015, as opposed to a much higher use of surplus in 2005 of 7.71%. And our receipt from delinquent taxes is at 2.36%, whereas in 2005 it was at 2.01%. And our library levy, 10 years ago, we didn't have to keep that separate, so it was part of your amount to be raised. We showed at 1.60% of our revenue sources. And I know this is everyone's major question. This governing body only has control over the municipal portion of your tax bill. The municipal portion of the tax bill will rise by, on an average assessed home of $134,069.78, or $5.81 per month. A tax point in 2015 is $270,790, which is a slightly decreased number over last year's tax point. The second component of your budget is your capital budget. Your capital budget is a plan that the governing body puts together to address our various infrastructure, roads, sewers, equipment for our various departments. The capital budget is a plan, and we cannot spend any authorization of any money until a bond ordinance is passed. A bond ordinance takes 2/3 vote of the governing body. That will then authorize us to incur debt. This year, the capital budget for the city of Linden is one of the largest since I've been here in my 27 years. The public safety department's is $3,019,500. It's a critical time for the communication systems in the city of Linden. There actually is a bond ordinance on tonight to address over $2 million worth of expenditures for the upgrade of our citywide communication system. This is something that will benefit the fire department, public works departments, police department, central dispatch departments. We also have in this year's budget a disaster recovery project for the police and fire and non-public safety departments. In the event something occurs at City Hall, we'll have a remote location. We also purchased some SUVs for our police department and some certain firefighting equipment. So that's the part of the capital budget plan, and you'll see through the next couple of months various ordinances that will come before the governing body as to what plan they'll actually approve, which part of the components. The next is our non-public safety departments. Our engineering, which is probably the most critical, deals with our streets and our infrastructure, our roads, our sewers. This year we have various street resurfacing. We have our sanitary sewer improvements. We are right now working on a landfill wetlands enhancement program. In 2007, there was an administrative consent order that the DEP had the city enter into, and there are certain guidelines that the city has to adhere to. One of them was wetlands enhancement. Right now, we're applying for a federal and state EDA grant program, so some of the numbers that you see will go down as we get the revenue in through the grants. We have safe routes to schools. This was something that the mayor and council had worked very aggressively to work on our Wood Avenue corridor. We just recently received $200,000. The remainder of that is going to be run through our capital budget because we have to have a match for that that's going to run for School 6 and School 1. It was instrumental working with the Board of Education, the principals, and our Traffic Bureau in order to secure that significant grant. We also have our curb and sidewalk reconstruction and the landfill closure. We have Council President and our Engineering Committee have been very deeply involved in our landfill meetings, trying to minimize as much expenses as possible and come up with a comprehensive cost-benefit analysis of the landfill that we're going to have probably within the next month so that we can limit our landfill expenses as the years go on. So the total for engineering is $4,789,500. Of that, we will get certain grants, so that number will go down. We also have non-public safety computer equipment that's budgeted, that runs through my finance department. However, this is going to cover any department that's not public safety. We're also looking to become paperless, so we're looking to purchase computers or tablets for our governing body members, and also for the library. We're going to be purchasing some computers through our capital budget and donating it to the library because they have some antiquated computers. So the city's going to be entering into a shared service agreement with them. We also have our other significant public property department where we have to budget $821,000 through our capital budget. On our 6-year capital improvement plan, we've been, the roof and HVAC replacement, it's been about 10 years of requesting that. This is something that the council cannot put off any longer. Therefore, it's a significant number, but we are applying for grants through the county that's assisting us for replacing of the HVAC at the multipurpose center. There's also certain equipment that's been antiquated over the last 20 years. We're looking to upgrade our equipment at certain facilities for our seniors and our residents. We also have a pickup truck, a tractor, and a senior citizen bus in this year's capital budget. Again, those ordinances will be forthcoming once the department head is ready to proceed. They will come before the governing body. And another department that has a significant capital budget is our Public Works Department. The Public Works Committee has been working very diligently in trying to move forward with the one-armed garbage trucks. They've had great success in certain areas. There's actually an ordinance on the agenda tonight to, if anyone wants to purchase or an additional can, that ordinance is being brought forward through our Public Works Committee. Councilwoman Cosby Hurling has been working very closely with the Public Works Department in making sure that they get the equipment that they need to work as efficiently and as effectively as they possibly can for the citizens of Linden. So we have in this year's capital budget an automated sanitation truck, additional carts, portable truck lifts for their Public Works garage, hot patch trailer. As everybody knows, we're trying right now to catch up on our infrastructure of certain our roads. We've had a horrendous winter. This is something that will benefit the Public Works Department. We also have our turf tractor, grass cutter, brush chipping machine, additional asphalt, and the pickup truck. So the total expenditures for Public Works capital is $922,900. What we try to do is to maintain a level debt service in Linden. So we don't normally have those high capital budgets. We try to keep between 3 and 5 million. This year, there was certain extraordinary circumstances that the governing body felt we had to include in the capital. Next year's capital will be significantly lower than this year's capital. We just did a general obligation bond sale where Standard & Poor's had allowed the city to remain at the same bond rating, a AA bond rating, and also kept our outlook as stable. So we are looking at our debt, and we want to make sure that we keep it level. This year was an extraordinary large capital, but it will go down next year. And the last slide, basically, I touched upon it earlier, is our tax collection rate. It's on the rise. It's over 98%, and that I have to attribute to our tax collector, Stacy Karen, and her staff. They work tirelessly to bring in our receipts as much as possible. By having tax collection and taxpayers paying their taxes on time, it assists the city in allowing us to bring in revenue and being able to keep the budget at a manageable level below the 2% cap this year. Our appropriations are under the 2% cap levy by over $200,000. So I want to just take this opportunity to thank all the taxpayers and thank everyone here for your time and attention, and I'd be glad to entertain any questions you may have. Thank you.
How many people?
Okay, before we get started with the questions, let me tell you that we out here have to do a job, and it's very hard to go in and tell you, look, we're going to charge more money. But we were told by the state to keep it under a cap, which it was a great job what the CFO have done. And even though out there sometimes we're in a position that we have to take criticism and, you know, people complaining, and there is a lot to complain. We still have a lot of potholes, a lot of things to be fixed. But once in a while, pat on the back and a good job goes a long way. So, Mrs. Sack, good job. Now, we're going to be taking questions, and the first person, the only person, will be, of course, Ms. Hero. Can you please come up?
Mrs. Zach always does a magnificent job, and I'm always most impressed by her.
Thank you.
My first question with regard to this is, what does unexpected balances canceled mean?
On the state budget sheet you're referring to, that deals
Yeah,
with...
Sheet A, 3A.
That's in reference to our elapsing of appropriation reserves. If the department is given a certain dollar amount and they don't expend that dollar amount, what we do is we cancel that appropriation, and it lapses into our appropriation reserves, which then becomes surplus.
Okay, thank you. Just have a few questions. With regard to the interlocal agreement with the Board of Education, with the shared resource officer in schools, I don't know if it's been settled yet, but we had a problem a few years ago with, I believe we were accepting garbage, taking garbage in from the Board of Education, and there was a little bit of problem with payment, I believe, from the Board of Education, and there was a lawsuit. And I'm not really sure what happened with that, but I'm hoping that we will be better able to monitor the fact that we are getting this money from the Board of Education. Can you give me assurances with regard to that?
They have been paying us on time. We do send out the reminder, certified mail, return receipt requested, and they have been sending us the payments on time. So they are up to date and current with this payment for the shared resource officer.
Okay, so has anything been resolved with regard to the garbage issue?
I believe that's still in litigation. I'll check with Mr. Antonelli.
Okay.
Ms. Hero, I'll have to get back to you on that issue.
Okay, thank you. With regard to the mayor's office, in 2014, we spent $149,800 for salaries and wages, and in this year, 2015, we're going to be spending $162,100. What's the reason for the increase?
I used to share an employee. There was an employee from the Department of Finance that was shared with the mayor's office, and she's no longer being shared. She's back in my department fully, and the mayor has his two confidential assistants and secretaries in their office. So they're being paid a different salary than what my shared service was with my employee. That's why there shows an increase.
Okay, thank you. With regard to the municipal court, in 2014, we had $853,900 in salaries and wages. And this year, 2015, it's $898,600. Now, I understood that one of the reasons we had two judges was because, of course, we had that red light camera and all the tickets that it generated. But now we don't have a red light camera anymore. So why is there such an increase in salaries and wages? And have we thought about maybe not having two judges? Just a thought.
There was an increase due to the hiring of part-time staff. The hiring of part-time staff is going to eventually eliminate the need for an overtime budget. So presently, right now, it does appear to be an increase, but it will show a decrease probably within the next year or two. Right now, we're in the middle of negotiations, and once the negotiations are finalized, those part-timers will be shifted to work in the evenings, therefore not causing additional overtime.
Okay, thank you. And one thing I notice is that on sheet 39, we seem to have a large amount of, trucks and things that we buy for the Public Works Department. Now, I noticed that we're going to be getting a senior citizens bus, and I must admit that's a really great thing, because having been on the senior citizens bus, it often doesn't work. Air conditioning doesn't work during the summer, heating sometimes doesn't work during the winter. And I'm wondering, does Public Properties have any way of keeping track of these vehicles as to when they're maintained? Like, for example, even just a database, when we got them, how they're maintained, anything like that? Because it seems to me that that's definitely needed in Public Works.
Our municipal garage has a fleet maintenance management system, and
Okay.
they not only do preventive maintenance, but they have a schedule that they adhere to. The bus that you're referring to has, again, been requested previously, but due to the limiting of the capital budget, it hadn't been able to be approved. But this year, Director McDonald was emphatic that it had to be put into the budget. It could not wait any longer. So therefore, that's why it is in the capital budget. The Finance Committee did try to eliminate the requests. What you see here has gone through probably 12 different budget hearings with the various committee members. We have the chairperson of whatever committee we're meeting with. I'll use Public Works, for instance. Councilwoman Cosby Hurling is the chair of Public Works. She attended their budget hearings, and they had maybe requested 25 items, and we've had to scale it down. So this has definitely been eliminated through the Finance Committee and the various department committees. They meet with their department committee. We try to scale it down through the department committee before it even makes it to the Finance Committee. So there had been a lot of trucks that had been taken off. They did lose a lot of equipment through Hurricane Sandy. We had purchased a couple of the pickup trucks right after Hurricane Sandy, but again, because of the age, the wear and tear, the mileage, we do try to replace the vehicles as soon as we feel that it's a safety issue. And then we do it, declare them surplus, and then we're able to sell that and bring that back in as miscellaneous revenue.
Okay, great explanations as always, and I'd like to thank Al McDonald for the senior citizen bus. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hero. Thank you, Mrs. Sack. Peter, do you have something to say?
Yes, Councilman Brown. I'm Councilman Brown, but this budget represents a total of $100,371,367.38 in expenses for the year 2015. I would like to let residents know that this is actually lower than last year's budget. This is also, we were able to keep our bond rating, our high bond rating, for the second year in a row. Also, for the second year in a row, we have been under cap, as opposed to 3 years ago when we were over cap by 5.2. In addition, this is the lowest tax rate increase in the city of Linden since 2006. The council has worked hard to stabilize the budget, and the focus has been on adding more police officers and public work employees to address the quality of life issues of the city of Linden as well as residents are facing. I would like to thank all the members of the governing body for their assistance and recommendations for the 2015 budget, and I would like to especially thank every department head, the employees, and for their dedication, due diligence in preparing the 2015 municipal budget. Ask for approval and seek a second.
Second.
Be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Linden, County of Union, that the budget herein before set forth is hereby adopted and shall constitute an appropriation for the purposes stated of the sums therein set forth as the appropriations, and authorization of the amount of $56,906,327.02 for municipal purposes. $1,610,482.14 is the minimum tax levy for the library. General revenues, surpluses anticipated, $5 million. Miscellaneous revenues anticipated, $34,490,558.22. Receipts from delinquent taxes, $2,364,000. Amount to be raised by taxation, $56,906,327.02. Amount to be raised by taxation, minimum tax levy, $1,610,482.14. Total revenues, $100,371,327.02. $367.38. Within caps, operation including contingents, $71,015,405.86. Deferred charges and statutory expenditures municipal, $10,808,448. Operations, total operations excluded from cap, $3,774,063.52. Capital improvements, $400,000. Municipal debt service, $10,275,450. Deferred charges municipal, $120,000. Reserve for uncollected taxes, $3,978,000. Total appropriations, $100,371,367.38. On the budget, Mrs. Hickey.
Yes.
Medina.
Yes.
Yemakaitis.
Yes.
Midachinko.
Yes.
Sadowski.
Yes.
Cosby Hurling.
Yes.
Brooks.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Breyer.
Yes.
Kalbus.
Yes.
Mr. Alvarez.
Yes. Ordinance on hearing. This is a date and time established for the public hearing for ordinances on hearing. Ordinance 59-11.
Bond ordinance providing an appropriation of $23,100 for the acquisition of a ground master grass cutter Toro with plow for the Public Works Department and authorizing the issuance of $21,945 in bonds or notes for financing part of the appropriation.
Has the ordinance been properly published and posted?
Yes, sir.
Has any written communication been received?
No, sir.
Is there anybody that wants to talk on this ordinance? Can I have a motion, please?
Council President, I move ordinance 5911, and I seek a second.
Second.
Mrs. Hickey.
Yes.
Medina.
Yes.
Yemakaitis.
Yes.
Midachinko.
Yes.
Sadowski.
Yes.
Cosby Hurling.
Yes.
Brooks.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Byer.
Yes.
Kalbus.
Yes.
Mr. Alvarez.
Yes. Ordinance 59-12.
Bond ordinance providing an appropriation of $39,600 for acquisition of a hot patch trailer for the Public Works Department and authorizing the issuance of $37,620 in bonds or notes for financing part of the appropriation.
Has the ordinance been properly published and posted?
Yes, sir.
Has any written communication been received?
No, sir.
Is there anyone that wishes to be heard on this particular ordinance? May I have a motion, please?
Council President, I move that the hearing is closed and ordinance 5912 be adopted.
Second.
Mrs. Hickey.
Yes.
Medina.
Yes.
Yemakaitis.
Yes.
Midachinko.
Yes.
Sadowski.
Yes.
Cosby Hurling.
Yes.
Brooks.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Byer.
Yes.
Kalbus.
Yes.
Alvarez.
Yes. Ordinance 59-13.
Bond ordinance providing an appropriation of $71,500 for acquisition of a brush chipping machine for the Public Works Department and authorizing the issuance of $67,925 in bonds or notes for financing part of the appropriation.
Has the ordinance been properly published and posted?
Yes, sir.
Has there been any written communications been received?
No, sir.
Is there anyone, Ms. Malik, please come up.
This also includes part of the ordinance number 11 for this piece of equipment and also for the master ground cutter. Don't we have any of this equipment currently in our repertoire of equipment?
Mr. Vendito, can you come up, please?
In Hurricane Sandy, we lost 6 ground masters. We got 3 back, and that's what we use. We tried a turf tractor. The tractor itself is shot, okay? This stuff all went through the flood, 32 inches of water. So we need another one. And as for the brush chipper, one of them was in the water. It's also, I think it's a 1990s version. Whenever we chip up Christmas trees, we use that for that. The pine destroys the machine. So that old one has finally run its course.
May I have a motion, please?
I ask that the hearing is closed and ordinance 5913 be adopted and seek a second.
Second.
Mrs. Hickey?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Midachinko?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Brooks?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Byer?
Yes.
Colbus?
Yes.
Mr. Alvarez?
Yes.
13.
Ordinance 5914.
Bond ordinance providing an appropriation of $110,000 for acquisition of asphalt for the Public Works Department and authorizing the issuance of $104,500 in bonds or notes for financing part of the appropriation.
Has the ordinance been properly published and posted?
Yes, sir.
Has there been any written communication been received?
No, sir.
Is there anybody that wants to talk on this ordinance? May I have a motion, please?
Council President, I ask that the hearing is closed and ordinance 5914 be adopted and seek a second.
Second.
Mrs. Hickey?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Minachinko?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Brooks?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Byer?
Yes.
Colbus?
Yes.
Mr. Alvarez?
Yes. Ordinance 59-15.
Bond ordinance providing an appropriation of $110,000 for the replacement of HVAC units at the Linden Multipurpose Center and authorizing the issuance of $104,500 in bonds or notes for financing part of the appropriation.
Has the ordinance been properly published or posted?
Yes, sir.
Has any written communication been received?
No, sir.
Does anybody want to be heard on this ordinance? May I have a motion, please?
Council President, I ask that the hearing be closed and ordinance 5915 be adopted and seek a second.
Second.
Mrs. Hickey?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Midachinko?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Brooks?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Byer?
Yes.
Colbus?
Yes.
Mr. Alvarez?
Yes. Ordinance 5916.
Bond ordinance providing an appropriation of $440,000 for the replacement of a roof at the Linden Multipurpose Center and authorizing the issuance of $418,000 in bonds or notes for financing part of the appropriation.
Has this ordinance been properly published and posted?
Yes, sir.
Has any written communication been received?
No, sir.
Does anybody want to speak on this ordinance? Ms. Malik? Yes, no, 16. I'll call you in the next one. May I have a motion, please?
Council President, I ask that the hearing be closed and seek a motion for council for ordinance 5916 be adopted and seek a second.
Second.
Mrs. Hickey?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Midachinko?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Brooks?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Byer?
Yes.
Colbus?
Yes.
Mr. Alvarez?
Yes. Ordinance 59-17.
Ordinance establishing a cap bank for calendar year 2015.
Has the ordinance been properly published and posted?
Yes, sir.
Has any written communication been received?
No, sir.
Mrs. Malik, want to come up?
Can it just be explained to me, what does a cap bank refer to?
Mrs. Sack?
Sure. The cap bank is an allowable item by the Division of Local Government Services. Since 1975, the inside cap appropriation from sheets 12 to 19 are what's considered inside cap. That had been limited by 2% of growth, called the COLA ordinance. Under the state, we're allowed to go to 3.5% if we pass an ordinance. This is the ordinance. So next year, if our appropriations within those sheets are in excess, we're allowed to go to our bank. The bank will be $1,630,951.66.
So that's like a reserve?
Yes, very
Okay.
similar to a reserve. But if we do not use it, in calendar year 16, we cannot use it in the following year. It's only for a one-year bank.
Good.
Prior years, probably 7 years ago, we would be allowed to use it year after year. They stopped that. So it's a one-year bank that we do just in case we need it, but we've never really had to use it within the last several years.
And those pages that you referred to, so when I go back to the capital.
When you look at the
budget-
state, yeah, when you look at the
What were
state budget
pages?
sheets, sheet 12 is when the appropriations begin.
Right.
And I believe it goes to sheet 19 where it says within appropriations.
Good.
And then once you go past that, you'll see the outside cap appropriations, such as the library, central dispatch, and so forth.
Good, thanks.
May I have a motion for this ordinance, please?
Council President, I ask that motion be made for the closing of, closing the hearing for ordinance 59-17 and ask for a second.
Second. Mrs. Hickey?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Midachinko?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Brooks?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Byer?
Yes.
Colbus?
Yes.
Mr. Alvarez?
Yes. Ordinance 59-18.
An ordinance to amend and supplement Chapter 18, Sewer and Water, shall be amended as follows. Delete Section 17-8.10, User Charges, and add new Section 17-8.10, User Charges.
Has the ordinance been properly published and posted?
Yes, sir.
Has any written communication been received?
No, sir.
Does anybody want to speak on this ordinance? May I have a motion, please?
Council President, I ask that the hearing be closed and ordinance 5918 be adopted. Seek a second.
Second.
Mrs. Hickey?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Midachinko?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Brooks?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Byer? Colbus?
Yes.
Mr. Alvarez?
Yes. Communications consent agenda. All items listed with asterisks are considered to be routine by the City Council and will be enacted with one motion. There will be no separate discussion on these items unless a council member or citizen so requests, in which event the item will be removed from the general order of business and considered in its normal sequence on the agenda. Items 1 through 8. Does anyone wish to remove an item? May I have a motion, please?
Council President, I move that the consent agenda be adopted 1 through 8, and then call for a second.
Second.
Mrs. Hickey?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Midachinko?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Brooks?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Byer?
Yes.
Colbus?
Yes.
Mr. Alvarez?
Yes. Okay, at the present time, we're going to start with the committee reports and comments from the members. We're going to start, this time we're going to start from my right instead of my left. Let's see how many people we can confuse today. So, Councilwoman Hickey, will you please start us off?
Thank you, Council President. First, I want to address the nice weather is coming. There's many kids out playing now, and I'm getting a lot of complaints of speeding up and down the side streets. Please, I even had a resident sit in the middle of the street waiting for cars to come by. So please, if everybody can slow it down a little, I don't want to have police officers start issuing a lot of tickets because they are very, very busy, and this is something we can try and take care of on our own. On Sunday, I drove around the entire 10th Ward. I think I have copied down on paper every single pothole that there is, and I will be forwarding that list to the DPW. They've been very wonderful. We've had a long winter, and all of a sudden, you know, spring is here, so trees, that sort of thing is going to have to wait, and we have to get some of these potholes filled. But they are doing their best. Ones that are extremely bad, I am calling them for right away. We have a couple important people who are always lived in our city. One was Mark Evan, one of our police officers, and I want to let you know that on June 13th, there has been a group of Linden residents who, for the Clark contingency of Relay for Life, who have started a team called the Remarkables, with Mark being in the middle. It was something close to his heart. You can go on the website for Relay for Life, or you can also contact one of our city employees. His name is Charlie Dolko. He is getting people together and gathering donations and so forth. This was something that was very special to Mark, and I am glad to see his son here in the audience tonight. He'd be very proud of you. The second one is also for a dear person that was very close to many school moms, and that's Jackie Frangella. They have a Relay for Life team going called the Corona Girls, and I don't think it's because any of the moms drink Corona. And that is going to be on the Woodbridge contingent, and that's on June 6th. You can also contact Anne Marie Venditto. She has been getting this team together. It was a dear, dear friend to her, and anybody that could participate, the more the merrier. On June 20th, the Special Improvement District, also known as SID, is having a spectacular event that day, and I'm really hoping that everybody reserves the date. What we will be having there is rides, food vendors, a beer garden. We also have from the Rangers, I hope I'm saying this right because I'm not a real sports fan, Stefan Matto from the Rangers, Doc Gooden, Stephen Baker from the Giants. They will be there signing autographs, and there'll be a DJ there and so forth. We also will be having performances, a doo-wop band, Without Reason, 52nd Street, and a final performance by Rob Bass, which I hear is someone that everyone is familiar with. He has some songs that we all do know. The kickoff will be at noon, and they're also having a comedian that day as well, Rich Voss. So all these different activities will be all day. We hope to make it a summer kickoff event for everyone, that you know, bring everyone together. That's always my thing. I like everyone joining together. And let's see, before it even happens, I would like to congratulate the young men that are here tonight. I was surprised to see many of you, and you all come from very, very good families. You're good residents, and you put a big smile on my face tonight when I saw you all standing in the hallway with your suits on. And last but not least, tonight was my nephew and godson, Jonathan Brooks' birthday. And he also had to put his dog to sleep today, of 18 years. And I'm sorry I missed your party tonight, honey. And I hope everybody has a good night. You can always call me. My cell phone number is 908-347-4548, and my email is ghickey@linden-newjersey.org if you have any problems or questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Hickey. Before we go with Councilman Medina, Chief, 11 minutes, 5 seconds.
14 minutes, 42 seconds.
Okay. Councilman Medina?
Yes, thank you, Council President. Good evening, everyone. Do have a similar report from Councilwoman Hickey, but not going to repeat some of them. But just want to bring some things to light for the folks in the 9th Ward, even throughout the city as well. For the past 2 weekends, we've been having, I want to call them break-ins, but some folks don't lock their vehicle doors overnight, and those cars are being opened up, and things are being going through, and things are being missing. So I advise everyone to please lock their doors, lock their cars, and whatnot, so with the hopes that your car will not be pickpocketed, I guess. Other than that, there's potholes throughout the city, but Public Works have been doing an amazing job, especially in the 9th Ward, even the 10th Ward as well. I have a lengthy list as well, but when I submit the list, they do go out there the next couple days, and they do patch them. So they're doing an amazing job, and we just have to be a little more patient with DPW, with the resources that they have. Trees that were out there the other day, they are starting to trim trees. I have a lengthy list of trees that need to come down and trimmed. So for you folks in the 9th Ward, I haven't forgotten about you. I have it. Supervisor have them, and it will get touched sometime this year. It's kind of hard to promise someone a timeline because of the resources that are available to DPW. Also, you guys saw the budget with the the capital budget with the resurfacing of our roads and sidewalks. We have a few roads in the Ninth Ward that will be done this year as well, of a bunch of sidewalks. You'll see a lot of activities. Actually, they started today on DeWitt Terrace. I believe they're paving between Livingston and Hillside Road, and they're going to do the 100 feet over there, the end of Raritan and DeWitt as well. So they already started today. I look forward to that project being completed, and also that end of Raritan, DeWitt, also milled and paved as well, because that's a pretty vast stretch of road down there. Also, if you guys have noticed, the stop signs have been going up on Orchard Terrace. They have them on Fernwood and Orchard, and on Monday the 27th, Edgewood and Orchard will be installed. Big difference on DeWitt Terrace. We look forward to a big difference on Orchard Terrace, and the police department have been out there just reminding folks that they have to stop at these new four-way stop intersections. So we're making a lot of progress here in the Ninth Ward and throughout the city. But all I ask that we be patient as we continue to move forward and improve things throughout the city of Linden. And that completes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Medina. For having a little baby, his hair is still dark. Look at him. Councilwoman Yamakaitis, can you please tell us your report?
Thank you, Council President. I'm going to start off. The Park Avenue Bridge is getting paved, as well as the intersection portion by the White Castle and 1 and 9. We received a report in caucus last night that the markings are down on the Park Avenue Bridge and that intersection to get the curbing and sidewalk started on the bridge, but they have not committed to a date. I tried to get a date again tonight. I'm going to keep hounding them till we get them set on a date, but we are aware of the issues there. Public Works, Mr. Venditto, I drive that poor man nuts, with different potholes daily, so we are getting to it. As soon as I know a date, I will make sure everyone on this council, as well as the residents, know, but it is getting done. From the Fire Committee, the Fire Prevention Bureau collected a total of $3,688.75 for the month of March 2015. The Ambulance Reimbursement Systems Incorporated collected a total of $51,775.38 for the month of March 2015, with a total deposits for 2015 so far of $157,743.74. The Linden Fire Department volunteered and teamed up with the Red Cross and the ROTC students from Linden to install smoke detectors this past weekend in 5th Ward and a small portion of the 8th Ward. Altogether, they installed 69 smoke alarms and replaced 7 batteries. If anyone would like the smoke alarms, they are taking reservations, and they are continuing to receive calls for these. They will be canvassing the entire city over the next couple of years, so the number to call would be 908-474-4560. I also would like to mention that we had our 8th Ward Spruce It Up cleanup this past Saturday, and I'm overwhelmed by the response we had from our city employees. Our residents, we just couldn't believe, especially with the fire department. They came out, they dug in areas that haven't been dug in years, over by the Park Avenue Bridge. Chief Dooley himself was under the bleachers at Dorothy Ford Park. So I want to thank them again for all their support, as well as some of our other departments, Central Dispatch, our city clerk's office, and I also want to say a special thank you to Councilman Byer, who donated the bags and the gloves for that day to help us out, as well as everyone in my ward who came out and assisted with that. Okay, our fire department, I'd like to congratulate, as chairperson of the fire committee, I want to congratulate you as our new recruits. You have a tough road ahead of you, but your department always makes the city proud. So you have big shoes to fill, and we expect the best from you. Okay, from the Board of Health, due to the delay in the rabies vaccine from the New Jersey State Department of Health, the annual anti-rabies vaccination program, usually held in May, will not be held until sometime in June. When the vaccine is received and the exact dates are scheduled, postcards will be mailed to all residents with licensed animals, and the information will also be posted on the Linden website. The Associated Humane Society's mobile van will be in Linden on Thursday, May 7th. The Humane Society does offer low-cost vaccines, $15 for a rabies shot, so if anyone's interested in getting ahead of time. For more information on the mobile van, contact the Associated Humane Societies in Newark at 973-824-7080, extension 118. I've been also asked to mention that we have had several dog bite incidents over the past month that have involved dogs biting and injuring other dogs, and also biting one or both of the dog owners. All these incidents happened as a result of the dog owner that allowed their dog to run loose and was careless in securing their dog, or was careless when they were walking their dog. We have a city ordinance 5-1.9 that states, "No person owning a dog shall permit it to be or run at large upon the public street, sidewalk, park, public building, or upon premises other than those of the owner of such dog within the city. Such dog shall be securely confined and controlled by an adequate leash no more than 6 feet long." So those long leashes are not supposed to be 6 feet. It's a maximum length. All Linden residents are asked to comply with this ordinance. A summons will be issued to anyone who allows their dog to run at large. I could say I know of an incident in my ward on Greer Avenue where a pit bull attacked a little Maltese. You know, it's devastating for the owners to have to rush their animal to a vet. Luckily, that dog survived, but it was very bad. So we ask, if you see anything like that, please notify the police. And, you know, if you have any questions, call your council person. We can find out if the dog is licensed or not. Okay, and also we have the bike helmets. With the bike weather here, the Linden Health Department still has a supply of bicycle helmets for your child. These helmets are provided at no cost. Please contact the Health Department at 908-474-8420. We've had this last year. We still have helmets available, so these are free helmets, so please take advantage of them. And I want to close with the reopening of McGilvery Park. I don't have the date yet. Public Works and Public Property have been back there working again. Right now, we're waiting for the rubber padding. It's been ordered, but that's what we're waiting to come in. That goes underneath the jungle gym. I will be planning a ribbon cutting ceremony and a special event in that park, so I will announce that at a future date. That concludes my report, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilwoman Yurmakaitis, and I really hope we get Park Avenue done very quick. Councilman Menichenko, happy birthday.
Not till tomorrow, Council.
All right, then tomorrow I wish you happy birthday.
But thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Council President. From the Construction Code Department. The Construction Code Department had issued 123 permits and 13 certificates for the month of March, and we generated $60,720. Okay. As Councilman Yamadakis and everyone else mentioned, we all beat up Mr. Venditto for potholes. I too have been taking lists, and they're doing a great job. We're just got so many, it's horrendous. Also in the 7th Ward and the 6th Ward, Councilman Sadowski and myself also been beating up Mr. Verchik. If you know all the sewer mains they're replacing, I think they're doing a horrendous job. It's sloppy, it's a mess out there, it looks like a battlefield. And we instructed our city attorney, if things doesn't get cleaned up, to contact the Board of Public Utilities and have them come out there and see what they can do for us, because it's horrendous. The roads are just all torn apart. I don't know when they're going to repave them, hopefully soon when this work is done, but it's horrendous out there. You go up and down Wood Avenue, you think Park Avenue's busy or bad. Anybody go down Wood Avenue lately from Route 1 to the Tremblay Point section? Forget about it. You're going to lose your teeth. Also, if you notice on Lower Road, we finally got the railroad crossing going up. It looks like it's about 100% complete. They don't have it working yet. I don't know why yet. I don't know if Mr. Verchik could answer that, but hopefully they'll get that working soon, and maybe we can apply to the state for a quiet zone, so it gets a little more quiet there for the residents of Tremley. That whistle, the train comes in 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, they blow the horn 5 times, and I don't have to tell you this how loud it is. It's just horrible. Also, the Blue Acres program for the 6th and 7th Ward residents. If you haven't heard from your case manager, you're supposed to be hearing them this week. They're starting to make offers to the residents that are in the Blue Acres program. If you guys aren't familiar with the Blue Acres program, it's a program where the state comes in and buys out properties that are in flood-prone areas, and there's approximately 42 houses in the Linden that are a part of this program. So this week, you should be hearing from them, from your appraiser, and get your thing. To piggyback on that, if you haven't seen the updated flood maps for the 6th and 7th Ward, I think you should check them out. You can call the engineering department. They'll let you know exactly where you stand in that. But if you want to learn about the flood hazard maps and the flood risk by attending the Union County Flood Risk Open House, join Union County, New Jersey, DEP, and FEMA to have your questions answered about your flood risk, flood insurance, and flood risk mitigation. Come at any time between the hours of 4 p.m. and 8 p.m. on Thursday, April 23rd, 2015. It's going to be at the Rahway City Public Library, 2 City Hall Plaza, Rahway, New Jersey. It says to bring your flood insurance policy and/or elevation certificate to learn how the new flood maps may affect you. So this is very important if you're especially in the Tremley Point area, Irene Street, Walter Street, Madison, Parkway, Monroe, Buchanan, and in the 6th Ward, Emma Place. Very important to find this out. The following information will not be available at this meeting: updates on the ongoing levy studies, outstanding insurance claims, and any disaster-related recovery efforts. They're just there to strictly talk about your flood risk, and that's it. With that said, I'd also like to congratulate our 6 new recruits. I know, like Mrs. Yamakita said, you got a rough road ahead of you. There's actually 2 individuals I'd really like to congratulate. They happen to be residents of my ward, and they come from very fine families, Mr. Serra and Mr. Yusko. And I'm really, really, really proud of you guys, man. Especially Mr. Yusko, give you a little background on him. His parents, and they say the apple don't fall from the tree. My house got destroyed in Hurricane Sandy. And during the rebuilding process, was approximately 2 to 3 months, his family was kind enough to take my family in for that time. And that's the kind of family he comes from. So I'm really happy for you guys. With that, if anybody has any concerns, you can reach me at mminichenko@linden-nj.org or 908-862-6265. And that concludes my report, Council President.
Thank you, Councilwoman Minichenko. Councilman Sadowski.
Okay, thank you. First, gentleman being on the fire with Michelle, please stand up so we can see who you are and you can get a hand, please. And congratulations, and you got a tough job ahead of you, and I'm sure you'll all be up to it. Thank you. Before I even go, Mrs. Yamakaitis, they've talked already on everything I was going to say, a good portion of it, so I won't even repeat it. First, good evening. The dog and cat licenses, you can get them, they were up, I guess, a couple of weeks ago, but you can get them by going up to City Hall. Also mentioning the water company. 7th Ward and I went through, in the 6th, it's awful. I have people who, when they did the paving, they plugged up their drain pipes. So their sump pump don't work. Or the water coming down from the roof doesn't come out. And this is how they left it. The city's working on it, and I'm sure it will get fixed with an engineering department. They're pushing it. The other thing which is happening quite a bit, I'm sure in the 7th Ward and the 6th Ward, we have trouble with shopping carts. I get calls every other day that there's a cart in front of my house and so on and so forth. Last year I used to go out and push them down to my yard. One day I had about 12 carts in my yard, and I said, that was the end. So if there's any kind of shopping cart left around, please give me a call. I will then call the DPW, and they said they would pick it up, because it's an eyesore. So please, if that happens. I am going around the city now, or on the 6th Ward, excuse me, checking on sidewalks and trees to be trimmed. Also, if you want a tree, please give me a call. I'll give you my number in a few minutes. We are taking orders. The 2014 has been put in. It's just waiting. We are now starting on 2015. So please give me a call. You had mentioned testing of rabies, so the city's into that. Oh, yeah, that won't be till, I guess, early May or late June. They had to change it, they said. People by the highway and, where the heck is it? Rebecca Streets, they were down there, the city, doing the potholes. They did quite a bit with the hot tar. They can't do everything at once. So please be patient, because you are on their list. Okay, and lastly, today I went out with the 5th grade from 6th school, Mrs. Perkins School. I went to the Hawk Rise Sanctuary. I had been there myself, but this was the first time I went to see a classroom. There was 2 5th grades. The teachers were Mike Mastriano and Mrs. Melissa Higgins. I stayed at Mrs. Higgins' class. It was an experience to see how the people from the Audubon Society explained to them. The children were wonderful. They had questions and so on. The 2 Audubon people, which I want to give a heads up to, did a terrific job. One was Jen Basili, and the other was Kelly Wendell. Like I said, I was there by myself a couple of times, but this is the first time I've seen a class go through. They run it really perfect. So I just want to congratulate the schools for letting them do it, and for the Audubon Society for being there to show them. If you have any questions or you need something, please give me a call. It's 908-862-0749. I keep promising on getting a, what am I supposed to get? Computer laptop. It's been a year only, so I will be getting it before I go out of office, so I will be getting. Please, if you can, give me a call at 262-0749. Whatever it is, I will definitely get back to you. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Councilman Sadowski. Did you start your report by saying the 6 people that are on fire? Please stand up.
Yes.
And they say I speak funny.
They're full of fire of anticipation.
Okay, thank you. Great job. Councilman Menichenko, simply because it's your birthday tomorrow, you get one more saying.
Thank you, Council President. I feel awful, you know. Mrs. Evans, Ryan Evans, he's another member of the 7th Ward and another member of a remarkable family, as Mrs. Hickey said, you know. Congratulations.
Stand up.
I am so sorry for missing you. You know, we have some brave, heroic men in the 7th Ward, and just thank you, and I apologize. I am very sorry. Thank you. Thank you, Council President.
Your birthday and you're losing your mind. Councilwoman Cosby.
Yes, sir, Council President. So I'm going to try and be brief. So I'm going to talk a little fast. He nodded his head like, hurry up. Okay. I want to just thank everyone in the Recreation Department, Public Property, who came and helped us have our grand opening for the Charles Street Park. We have not had a playground there since 2012, and the children had a wonderful time. They're in the park. They're not playing in the street. We don't have to worry about them, you know, running out after balls and such. The park is not 100% because we still have lots of landscaping work to do, but we are grateful that the children are in the park. We do have paving work that will be done. Of course, Councilman Yamakaitis and I both are pressing for Park Avenue, but we know that there's concrete work that's being done in other parts of the city, and Park Avenue's bridge will be done next. Mr. Verchik, right? So he gave us a hand signal, but on the record, he said okay. In the 5th Ward, we're going to have Garfield, a portion of Garfield paved, and a portion of Dill Avenue also will be paved. And we're going to still get the speed humps where the police department designate that they should be placed to slow the traffic, because that was approved last year. We have School 4 PTA. They are doing on May 7th. May 7th. It's a Mother's Day Bazaar, and they're looking for vendors. If you are interested in, having a table, it's just $20 to give to the PTA, and you can sell your wares to the members of the public. If you're interested, the deadline to get a table is this Friday, April 24th. Please contact Olivia. I'm going to give her number, and she gave us her number. So it's 908-267-4574. If you want a table for School 4's May 7th event, call Olivia at 908-267-4574. Did that. One of the policies that, our committee last year, we were on public property. I was on public property. We actually put in for a employee break room here in City Hall. It was the former break room that turned into a storage room, and a lot of employees found themselves stuck, if you will, at their desks. So what we did was we asked to get new refrigerator, new microwave, and a new countertop put in so that the employees would have a place away from their desk, and that is now being constructed. So I'm looking forward to seeing the end result, and I know that some of the employees who just would need a few minutes away from their computer screen or their telephones are going to be grateful that it's now going to be available to them here in City Hall. I wanted to mention also that last night, Councilman Brown asked if he encourages us to outsource the vacant property maintenance that we do. And since we've been doing vacant property registration, we have a substantial amount of funding where we can actually look to hire a different company and use our staff members to maintain our parks and our public properties. So that's something that we're looking into so that we can keep up with our public properties and still manage the vacant properties through the funds from the vacant property registration. So we're looking into that. We're also looking at having a form of community service through the court so that we can also manage some of the vacant properties that way. And it was something that was presented to the former judge and now revisited under the new Chief Justice Corbett, and we're looking at that through the Insurance Commission, Council President, and the council members. This way our folks who are on public property can focus on our properties, and those who are giving community service can help us to maintain other properties that are not maintained by their owners. So we're working on those things. What else? Oh, I'm going to announce an event for May 16th that we're going to have at the Dr. King Park. Councilman Brooks and myself and a couple of other folks from the neighborhood. We're going to do for National Kids to the Park Day. We're just going to be in the park, and we're going to get the kids active and engaged, because Linden is, I'm not sure if everyone knows, it's a Let's Move city, and we've been trying to do certain things, and now we're getting more help from the health department. So we're going to try and put on more activities so that the kids can move more and have healthier food choices. And there's a resolution tonight also that we ask our vendors and our concessionaires to please offer healthier choices to the children when they do events. So that's something that we're introducing and hoping to follow through with. I want to thank the members of the Finance Committee and those who worked very, very hard for the budget. There's no way around a tax increase. However, it's a smaller portion than it was last year. And, we're looking, I know the mayor's looking, the Revenue Enhancement Committee is looking, and we're all encouraging folks to come to business, bring businesses to Linden. So as we continue to progress, hopefully we'll see in the near future lower, if none at all, tax increases. And having said that, I want to just say that the county has informed us that the county portion of our taxes is actually going to be decreased by an average of $62. So that's, good news as well. I want to just thank my neighbor Kathy, who is diligently helping me keep the wooden dogs up at IOZ Park, which is controlling the Canadian geese population. And we appreciate you, Kathy, and all your other invisible friends who help keep the dogs erect. Before I close, I want to say happy birthday to Councilman Minochenko and to my nephew Tahir. And if you have any questions, concerns, or comments, you can email me at rcosbyhurling@linden-nj.org, or you can call me at 908-718-7933. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Councilwoman Cosby. I am glad that you said it was going to be a short one.
Yeah.
Councilman Brooks?
Thank you, Council President. And I'm not so certain that I like this change, because I think people start to understand that things tend to overlap. So there are situations that I would normally get an opportunity to talk about first and they would get it last, is now coming my way. So a lot of what has been said, it would be repetitive for me in terms of the streets. You know, everybody knows what's going on there. But there are certain other situations that I would like to speak about. And before I do that, I'd also like to welcome the new recruits to the city. Pleasure to have you here. And you do have a hard job. Hopefully we can assist you in any way that we can. But I'd like to start with a thank you to all of our residents, because, you know, I get calls, and I'm sure every other council person does, I get calls that's not necessarily from someone in my ward, but is looking for information. Where is the person in my ward? That provides me an opportunity to talk to someone else and give the proper direction. And also, I'd like to thank the Department of Public Works, Community Services, the DPW. Invariably, when you don't do something, when you think you should do something and you have it on your mind to do it, and something happens and you don't get an opportunity to do it, that thing comes back to bite you. So that happened to me. I was going to go online and look at something. I did not do it. I got distracted, and I got a pretty terse message from a resident. A terse message from a resident is good, because that resident was 100% right. There was some information, there was some profanity that was written in Dr. Martin Luther King Park on the stanchion of the basketball, the rim there, some information, negative information that was written on the building itself. I gave a call to the Department of Public Works and to Recreation, and it got done that day. Excellent work. I can't thank them enough, you know, and it was bad. What was written on that area was bad. They came out, took care of it. I can now say to that resident and to the residents of the Fourth Ward that was taken care of in that park, and I'm grateful for the quick response that I got with regard to taking care of that. I can't thank you guys enough for the hard work that you guys do. Also, there's information that we get all the time when we talk to people and ring people's doorbell, and, you know, you really need to get back and say that, you know, this is what's really going on. So for those residents in the Fourth Ward, that there is a situation with regard to a club that's attached to Dunkin' Donuts on St. George's Avenue and parking situations. Let me assure the residents that that's been spoken of with regard to that. The police chief has been spoken to, so I'm sure we'll be taking care of some of that. You know, again, based on the time frames and parameters that they have, the constraints that they have with regard to doing that. I also have been talking to Mr. Verchek, Mr. George over there a lot, and getting on his case, and he's been explaining to me. I now know about pipes and the size of the pipes and the angles that the pipes go, and that's what causes backups. But for those residents on Harrison Place, again, we are aware of it. The appropriate people have been made aware of it. There are other options that have to be explored in terms of taking care of that, especially when you have in your ward a situation on Dill where you have a sewer collapse, and that had to be taken care of. So again, those priorities go to engineering, and I understand that. And I trust that they will make the right decisions as it relates to what has to be done first. And I ask, as everybody else has done, that the residents be patient with regard to what's going on, because we are in fact aware of it, and all the appropriate individuals who need to know that information know it. And we will make sure that we'll continue to let people know it. Now, some announcements. The Department of Public Property and Community Services presents the 56th Annual Senior Citizen Day, honoring Steven Zielinski, 2015 Outstanding Senior Citizen of the Year, Friday, May 8th, 2015, 1 p.m., John T. Gregorio Recreation Center, 330 Helen Street, Linden. Refreshments will be served. For more information, please call John T. Gregorio Recreation Center at 908-474-8627. Also, with regard to Linden and our residents, the diets, our overall general health. We also have a free blood pressure check that's going to be April 24th, 2015, Friday, 11 a.m., again at the John T. Gregorio Recreation Center on Helen Street. Also says, a little flyer says, bring a friend. You will see this, I'm sure, posted in the usual places, but since I'm a little closer to you, is Health Wellness Fair, date April 29th, 2015, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Location, School 1, Curtis Street. Care for Body and Mind, blood testing, Care Station Medical Group, YMCA, Linden Fire and Ambulance, County Sheriff's Department, Smiles Program, Communities Incorporation, Muscle Maker Grill, Linden Health Department, Miracle Ear Center, and many more. Great opportunity for everyone to come out, get an opportunity to talk to individuals with regard to this. Again, your health, the health of our residents, of utmost importance to all of us. And again, with regard to the residents, all residents of the city, we want to make sure that we are up above board with regard to what is going on, how it's happening, to the best of our ability every day, because that's what it is my intention to do, and I'm sure it is the intention of everybody else on this council. When I mentioned the problem that the residents brought to me with regard to that club on Roselle Street, before I could finish, Councilman Medina down there indicated that he would assist me. That's the kind of council that we have. Before I could finish the sentence, he was already telling me that he has some information with that, and he would meet me after. He'd be more than happy to assist me with it. Great job. That's the thing that I get from every single person on this council, and I can't thank them enough. So that's the end of my report, and again, thank you to the residents. It's always my pleasure.
Thank you, Councilman Brooks. Also, with the health fair, the Red Cross will also be there for smoke detectors signups. So anybody that's interested, the health fair is a very good idea, especially now that a lot of our kids are home doing this. So let's get them out there. And blood pressure, I think, is a great idea. I'm personally going to go have mine checked, being here for months already. Mr. Brooks?
Just briefly, in the event that you want to speak with me, leave a contact, get in contact with me, 908-406-8537. Again, 908-406-8537. Looking forward to hearing from you.
Thank you, Councilman Brooks. Councilman Brown?
Thank you. First, I would like to thank the residents that came out. I believe it was on Saturday. We had a budget meeting, the first, second, and third ward. I know it was short notice, and we did try to put it on social media. We didn't have the biggest crowd, but yeah, I want to thank residents for coming out. Learning from that, I've talked to my colleagues on my left, the first and second ward council members, and what we're going to look to do is have joint ward club meetings starting next month, monthly, at the Linden Library. So I've confirmed the Linden Library, and they made some space available for us, which we're going to put on social media. The first meeting will be on May 13th. The second one will be on June 10th. And the last one would be, and the next one following that would be on July 15th. The idea is to get at least our 3 wards together, and other wards if they would like to as well, where we want to at least have a few days prior to a council meeting to inform residents of some of the things that are happening in town and some of the things that we will be discussing. So this is something we will be doing monthly, starting in May, and for each month starting at 6:30. I also want to thank my colleagues on council for their support with the budget. A lot of people don't understand is that when we talk about the municipal budget, we have to take in consideration not just the department heads' requests and residents, but also council members' requests. Many times we hear reports of council members, each one of them know their wards very thoroughly and know the issues that they must address in their wards. So putting together a budget is a hard task to do when you have to take into consideration everyone's needs that they have. And so I just want to thank the council for their support in regards to that. Sticking with that, approval is requested for the following finance actions. The payment of bills totaling $1,176,661.95. The bills have been signed by the mayor, council president, and the finance chairman, and the detailed check register and vouchers are on file in the clerk's office. Item number 2, we are in receipt of investments made by the city treasurer for the month of March at a rate of 0.1499%. I move for approval and ask for a second.
Second.
Mrs. Hickey?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Midachinko?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Crosby Hurling?
Yes.
Brooks?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Byer?
Yes.
Colbus?
Yes.
Mr. Alvarez?
Yes.
One thing, while I've thanked my colleagues on council for the support, the department heads, I'm sorry, I forgot to thank the mayor as well. Mayor Armstead, I've worked with him on the finance committee for the last 2 years, and it's been a smooth transition with working with him as mayor of the city. We always talk about the expense side, but a lot of times when it comes to redevelopment side, that's what's really going to help Linden as far as help stabilize our taxes. And a lot of people say no tax rate increase. Well, the mayor, I think we talk almost every day, sometimes as early as 5:30 in the morning as far as what's going on in town. And that's what's helping us at least come up with a game plan, not just for this year, but down the road, and helping set the direction of where Linden needs to be. That direction, one thing, and I'll keep saying it over and over again, and it's a big issue for me, is rebuilding our police department and our public works department. Everyone on here has talked about potholes, and it's a matter of not just having the material, it's a matter of also having the manpower. Our public works department is probably the best department by far in the state. I wish just some people would know the amount of work that these guys do. The same guys that cut your trees are the same ones that are picking up the garbage, are the same ones that are doing the sewers, the same ones that are doing the potholes. And to say that they're down 30% and they're still trying to keep the city clean, you know, every once in a while we have to take our hats off to them. And this is a department that, again, needs to be rebuilt, in which this budget and future budgets will be addressing. And our police department, every council meeting I at least talk about our police department. They are very short-staffed. And while our population in Linden has increased and we're getting more development, our police department is working harder and harder with less officers, trying to clean up our streets as well. My hats go off to them. They always have my support. Everything from the police chief down to the police officers. And this is a department that needs to be rebuilt as well in town. So on the agenda, you'll see 12 officers that we're looking to interview. You know, for me, I'm hoping this is just a start of us being able to rebuild our police department. Item of report. Council President.
Thank you, Mr. Brown, and thank you very much for a great job you did with your staff on the budget. Councilman Byer?
Yes, Mr. President. In the engineer department, we have requests for handicap parking spaces. One spot's 108 Buchanan Street and 132 Irene Street. The engineer department has passed on all the information to have a resolution passed. Also engineering, the committee met on April 14th and they selected the following streets for the 2015 capital budget to be replaced. The streets are, this year is the odd number wards, and Palisade Road, Edgewood Road, Charles Street, Garfield Street, East Blanky Street, Hillside Road, Tremley Point Road, Lucin Place, Chapman Place, East Price Street, Dill Ave. If there's any money left over after the engineer's estimate, additional streets will be added to the list. And that's it for engineering. I have a complaint, numerous complaints of the same situation. People are picking up after their dogs in the second ward, which I thank them. You see them walking their dog and they carry a little bag full of stuff. And some people are picking up after a dog, putting it in a little bag, and they walk a couple of blocks and they dump it on someone's front lawn. It's like, what's the point of picking it up if you're going to throw it down on someone's grass a couple blocks away? I also notice it hanging on fences. They'll come across a fence and they'll just hang it on the fence and walk away. If these people are caught, and I know they will be caught because the word's getting out, and I'm going to make sure they get fined the maximum penalty that the city allows. So keep a lookout in the second ward. If you find out somebody doing this, let me know, and we'll get to the bottom of this and fine them the maximum penalty. That's it, my report, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilman Byer. Councilman Colbus?
Thank you, Council President. Over the last 8.5 years, I've made numerous complaints that I never get to go last when I make a report. Tonight, I regret that decision tremendously. And I apologize to everybody in here because this is what everybody's in here waiting for. So I'm going to start with the Personnel Committee report. In the Board of Health, the appointment of Alexis Rivera, effective May 1st, 2015, as Clerk 1 at the rate of $34,548, subject to successful completion of the pre-employment exam and the Board of Health approval. Number 2, the approval of FMLA, NJ, FLA, and unpaid sick leaves for the following personnel. Employee number 108113, FMLA leave from 3/2015 through 6/1915. Employee number 007779, FMLA leave from 3/2015 through 6/1915. And employee number 091142, intermittent FMLA leave from 3/1015 through 6/1015. Number 3, the approval of the DPW and public property seasonal list, which is on file in the Treasurer's office. Number 4, in the Department of Public Property and Community Services, Division of Public Works, the hiring of 3 laborers, Tier 2, Pedro Cazaldo, William Telesco, and Tyler Warnarski, at the starting hourly rate of $11.50, effective May 1st, 2015, pending successful completion of their pre-employment exams. In the Law Department, the change from clerk part-time status to full-time clerk 1 status for Zaira Rogers to clerk 1 at the annual salary of $34,548, effective May 1st, 2015. Number 6, in the Department of the Fire Department, the promotion of Lawrence Colessa from Fire Captain to Fire Deputy Chief at the salary of $143,390, effective May 1st, 2015, to fill the existing vacancy created by a retirement. In the Fire Department, the promotion of Kevin Konechny from Fire Lieutenant to Fire Captain at the salary of $113,829, effective May 1st, 2015. Number 8, the Fire Department, promotion of Brian Ferraro from firefighter to fire lieutenant at the salary of $104,382, effective May 1st, 2015. 9, in the Police Department, Division of Central Dispatch, the change in status from Brittany Florio, Michael Jabak, and Monica Solarski-Gant as per diem dispatchers to telecommunication operators full-time at the salary of $34,547, effective May 1st, 2015. 10, policy change citywide. Increase city policy for employees who are appointed to part-time positions to be permitted to work not to exceed 29.5 hours. Any current part-time employee shall continue to work the hours assigned to them pursuant to their hiring resolution. Requests for increased hours may be made to the Personnel Committee and reviewed on a case-by-case basis. 11, in the Police Department, permission is granted to start conducting background investigations for up to 12 police candidates. 12, in the Fire Department, due to retirements, the requirements of the Safer Grantland minimum manning requirements, the hiring of 6 probationary firefighters, Eric Turon, Ryan Evan, Ryan Yusko, Gregory Boyne, Richard Rouse, and Daniel Sura at the starting annual salary of $48,081, effective May 8th, 2015, pending the successful completion of all background checks and pre-employment physicals. 13, in the Department of Public Property and Community Services, the leave of absence without pay for a period up to 1 year, effective May 8, 2015, for the following personnel: Ryan Yusko, laborer, and Richard Rouse, mechanic. I move for approval and request a second.
Second.
Mrs. Hickey?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Midachinko?
Yes.
Zadowski?
Yes.
Crosby Hurling?
Yes to all except 12 and 13.
To which one?
12 and 13.
Brooks?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes to all except for number 12.
Byer?
Yes.
Colbus?
Yes.
Mr. Alvarez?
Yes. Everyone who was just mentioned on this list who was hired tonight or promoted, please stand up. All employees right now. And take a bow. Thank you. Okay, from the clerk's office, the following licenses, permits, transcripts issued in the city clerk's office during the month of March 2015 and fees received have been turned over to the municipal treasurer of the city of Linden. Total transactions, 327, for a city revenue of $4,300.77, state revenue $525, and for a grand total of $4,825.77. From the city clerk's license division is submitted the monthly report for the month of March 2015. This office issued 2 dog licenses, 124 miscellaneous licenses, and collected $9,513. For First Ward, on April 24th, First Ward residents and any resident in Linden or who's passing through, the high school is having an accident simulation on West Curtis Street down by the athletic field. So during the day, there'll be simulations going on for the high school students to come down and watch and observe and see different scenarios. So don't be alarmed. It is a simulation. There might even be a helicopter landing in the athletic field to prove this. So I don't want to get everybody worried or nervous because this is coming. So that's just coming down. And I want to congratulate everybody tonight, and if any First Ward resident or any city resident wishes to contact me, my number is 908-925-5568, or email ccolbus@linden-nj.org. This concludes my report, Council President.
Thank you, Councilman Calvas. You woke me up. I was falling asleep. Do you think the mayor can follow on that? Mayor, you ready?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Council President. First of all, good evening, everybody. I'd like to first thank all my council members. You've all done an outstanding job this year, in the last few months with regards to reporting potholes. I would ask that you continue to do so. Thank John Venditto for being very responsive. John, you've done an outstanding job with regards to anyone who has complained via phone call or via the email. I've been following your responses. You've been doing one heck of a job, and I really appreciate it. Keep up the good work. Got some good news for people in Linden. The county has decreased our tax levy by $62, and I think that's a good thing. It may not be a lot, but I think it's pretty good. Anytime you're going to decrease tax-wise, we'll take it. So I'd like to thank Councilman Brown and the Personnel and Finance for giving us the lowest tax increase since 2006. You have to be commended when you do something good. So I thank you all for your hard work and your diligence. Let's hope next year we can lower it even further. Okay. We have a number of new employees, and I would be remiss if I left out my 911 Central Dispatch personnel. They seem to be tucked away in the basement. Nobody ever gets a chance to see them, but they do play a very important role in the safety of this city. Anytime there's any type of emergency, it really goes to 911 Dispatch, and they do a fantastic job. The young ladies who were hired, well, the 2 young ladies and the 1 young man who were hired this evening have been working on a seasonal basis, and now they are permanent, and we're glad to have them, and I'm sure they'll do a great job. I'd like to also congratulate Zaira Rogers in our law department. She became full-time, outstanding worker. She deserves to work in our city, and I'm sure she's going to continue being an outstanding worker. In the Board of Health, we have a new person, Alexis Rivera. I'd like to congratulate you, Alexis, on your new hire. I'd like to congratulate all our new firemen. A sharp-looking bunch of guys. You know, I told them, listen, you don't come to a council meeting and outdress the mayor your first night. Okay, fine-looking young men, going to do an outstanding job. Just look forward to it. It takes a special person to be a fireman. You know, when people are running the other way, firemen are going in, and you're to be commended for taking on such a position. You'll see me every time there's a fire. I try to show up, just to give you some encouragement, and also to encourage the property owners who, in often cases, have lost. That that the most important thing about fires is that you don't lose a life, and we should be thankful for that. And thankfully for our code enforcement in this town, our fires, have been down, and our quick response time, we're able to minimize damage at many of the fires in Linden. So we do have an outstanding team of professionals working to guarantee that Linden is safe, and we do appreciate everything you all do, and we look forward to working with you all. I want to make sure that we don't forget anybody. Okay, DPW, we hired some new people in DPW. Look forward to working with them as well. I'm not going to call off all your names, but I'm sure you're all going to do a very good job. You have some good leadership down there, and the department is evolving and changing, and I'm certain that you'll work out. And as you can see, we have two gentlemen from DPW who just took a test and they posted into our fire department. So it's a good starting place. You can start off in DPW and wind up almost anywhere in the city, so it's a good thing. So we look forward to you guys working and being a part of our city family. And if you have any problems or questions, feel free to call my office. What else do we have here? Last night we had a meeting with, we invited Dan Ryman, the mayor from Carteret, to Linden. And it's Dan Ryman, we invited him because Dan has basically lived with the creation of an additional SID district in his town. And we're here to try to maximize revenues. As Councilman Brown mentioned earlier, we talk about the expense side of the equation, but what has to be addressed, and as much as we address the expenses, is increasing the revenues in town. So inviting Dan is just another way of maximizing the revenues, and he's gave us a resolutions and an outline of what he did in his town to expand his special improvement district. And we've talked about expanding our special improvement district along the US 1 corridor, and we're looking at St. George Avenue. And what special improvement districts allow, they allow you to be able to take that money and to utilize the resources to hire additional police, provide advertisement. It's just a good way to offset the taxes that the residential people are paying. So we're looking at that very closely, and I've encouraged our council to take that template and run with it. Councilman Brown is the liaison to the Special Improvement District, and I'm asking him to work very closely with our economic development person, who is Rich Purcell. I'm asking him to work very closely with our revenue enhancement committee, and I believe Councilwoman Hickey is on that committee, along with Councilman Medina. And if I missed anybody, who's the other person on that committee? Councilman Brown is on that committee as well. So listen, you guys get together, you have a template. I'd like to see 2 or 3 months from now us not talking about the creation of a special improvement district. I'd like us to be talking about that we have created one. Okay, the ideas are there, the template is there, and let's move forward with it so we can increase the revenues in this town. And last but not least, Dan Ryman from Carteret also talked about hazardous materials emergency response funding. And what that basically does, if you have hazardous materials in your town, the government allows for us to employ a tax per gallon. So what we're looking to do is to evaluate anywhere we have hazardous materials and try to assess them a fee per gallon. And again, that money can be utilized to offset our fire cost, of course, of a fireman or two. We could utilize that money to buy special foams that can be utilized to put fires out. So again, Mayor Ryman from Carteret brought us all the resolutions and all the information that's necessary for us to proceed. So I'd like our Revenue Enhancement Committee to take those resolutions and start looking at them, and let's move these things forward. We want to be talking 3 or 4 months from now about how we've put something in place, not about how we should be putting something in place. Because again, no matter how much we address the expense portion of the ledger, we have to address the revenue portion of it, the revenue side of it, and that's going to be key for us to turn this city around. Oh, and last but not least, okay, I did say it before. We have one more company, again, we talked about them last month, AG Energy. And we were in some extensive discussions as recent as yesterday. And I will be inviting them to the council meeting next month. They are prepared to bring a facility to Linden, and it's going to, just at a glance, it's $3 to $4 million in revenues for the city, and I think that's a good thing. And I just look forward to working with these gentlemen, and I hope the council will get behind these initiatives and start moving this city forward. And again, thank you for your patience. That concludes my report, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mayor. We have a little joke going in caucus. The mayor has a new saying, is wrong with it. So I guess for his birthday, we're going to get him a whip because he's making everybody run for it. I was going to call everybody and congratulate them, but again, the mayor did it already for me. See, we're sync. I tell him what to do and he does it for me. So things are working great. But congratulations, all of you who got promoted, everybody who's getting hired. You know, for those of you who are new, welcome to the city. And those of you who've been here, great job, and let's keep at it. Now we're moving to the resolution part. Before starting, I would like to remove Resolution 2015-174 from consideration. Can I please have a motion?
No. I'll make a motion to remove Resolution 174 from consideration and seek a second.
Second.
Mrs. Hickey?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medichenko?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Crosby Hurling?
Yes.
Byer?
Yes.
Kalbus?
Yes.
Mr. Alvarez?
Yes.
You forgot Monty Brown.
Oh, I'm sorry. Mr. Brooks?
Yes.
Public comments will be permitted for those specific resolutions to be removed from the consent approval. Please read the synopsis of the resolutions, which have been prepared by the city clerk's office. Each is informative and self-explanatory. However, if you wish to address a specific resolution, the council will entertain questions on it. Anybody with any resolutions? Ms. Hero? 182. 184. 186. 191. 200. 203. Ms. Malik? 162. 163. 164. 166. 169. 180. 186. 188. 191. 201. That's a lot of them today. Okay. Can I please have a motion on the remainder except for 162, 163, 164, 166, 169, 180, 182, 184, 186, 188, 191, 200, 201, and 203. Can I have a motion, please?
I'll make the motion and seek a second. You did all the work. I'm good. Thank you.
Second.
Mrs. Hickey?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medichenko?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Crosby Hurling?
Yes.
Brooks?
Yes.
Byer?
Yes.
Kalbus?
Yes.
Mr. Alvarez?
Yes.
Hey, you want to put all those right there?
Let's start with 166, Mrs. Hero, or
You want to do 160?
162. Mrs. Malik, 162?
Really, 62 and 63 go both hand in hand. Who are these large vehicles assigned to? And a couple of questions, where are the old cars going? And how many vehicles of the nature of like SUVs, these Tahoes, how many of these do we have in our fleet for our department?
Chief Schulhofer?
The expeditions, they'll go into the patrol fleet. The two Tahoes will replace two older Tahoes that are about 8 to 10 years old, and they'll be used by the field supervisors.
The old one or the new ones?
The new ones.
Uh-huh.
We are in the process, the last few years, of transitioning our fleet from cars to SUVs, simply because they're a better deal for us, number one. Number two, there's a little more room in them for all the equipment that we're expected to carry now.
Wow, so, and much larger gas guzzlers. So all of our police officers are going to, in the future, go from, you say, cars to SUVs? And what's the extra equipment that couldn't fit in a trunk of a car?
I'm sorry, what was the what?
What is all the extra equipment that they're going to be carrying that couldn't fit in a trunk of a car?
Well, they carry video cameras, laptop computers.
That's usually inside the car,
Yeah,
the laptops.
Right, sirens and the lights.
That's on
all
the
this
car?
equipment takes up an awful lot of room in the passenger compartment.
Okay, but I mean, I would think that the computers, the cameras should be on the inside, in with them, and I see that it's there. The lights, it's on the top. So what's going in the boot of the car?
Well, it's the light equipment that's the controls that are inside
Oh,
the
the
vehicle.
control, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha, okay. And then what kind of price differential are you talking about? Besides, I think in the past they were getting these Crown Victorias versus an SUV. What are we talking about in terms of price differences?
I didn't catch that. What'd you say? Price differences. The SUVs were able to capitalize cars we need to purchase out of the operating budget. So
Why is that?
That's the state law.
Interesting, okay. And so currently, how many of these large vehicles do we have?
This year we'll complete the transition. All of our district cars and supervisor vehicles will be SUVs after this.
Okay, so I thought you said patrol cars also are going to go to this?
Well,
Eventually?
we have 9 patrol districts and 2 supervisor vehicles.
Okay. And so you're saying this transition, that's going to happen this year, so all those vehicles are going to be going to the SUVs?
Yes.
And who can I find out about the price differential between the SUV and the car?
I'm not sure what the price differential is. The advantage is that we're able to purchase the vehicles in our capital budget rather than the operating budget.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. President, if you will.
Yes, Mayor.
Mrs. Malik, when we get the new SUVs, we'd be more than willing to let you come down and take a good look at them. It's very difficult to explain what goes in the back of some of these vehicles, but if you really came in and took a good look at it, you'll see that the vehicles are definitely needed in the department, and you'll have a better understanding of what equipment goes into those areas that you're discussing.
So the cars that we're replacing, what's going to happen to those? Are they going to go out for auction, so at least we'll recoup some money from these? I mean, 8 years, you think that you'd have some value of it?
Well, some of those cars will be utilized in the department, but what you have to remember, Mrs. Malik, is that these cars are constantly running, and there's a lot of wear and tear on police vehicles, and sometimes the police vehicles, we have to put them out to auction and get rid of them because they're just not worthy of keeping any longer.
Thank you. Mrs. Malik, 164?
This resolution also goes hand in hand with Resolution 186. What's the function for the Mueller Bolin Associates Project Management and Coordination Services? What exactly is that? Are
Mrs.
these?
Sack?
Yes, they're the project manager and the grant coordinator for several of the federal government and state government grants that we've been getting in. We had entertained and hired them, and we do an RFQ because we want to retain their services. They were instrumental in overseeing the project for over $1 million on our Wood Avenue corridor. Right now, they're in the process of working with the EDA, federal and state, to bring in up to possibly $5 million. So they are the ones that actually coordinate and follow the project from A to Z. They coordinate with the engineers, inside engineers, outside engineers, with my office, with our various committees. They're the project manager, and they make sure that all federal and state guidelines are adhered to.
Okay, and do we get our grant writers from them also? They just manage the projects?
They manage the projects,
Right.
and they also assist in obtaining
grant.
grants for us as well.
Okay, and what are we paying them?
It varies on the project and the grant. They get paid out of the grant, and different grants have different administrative allotments. Some range from 1%, some range from 2%. So it varies depending on the grant, what they'll be paid.
So it's coming out of the grant, so it's no cost to us?
Correct, yes.
Great.
Can I have a motion for 162, 163, 164, and 186?
Nobody asked me on 186 yet.
Yes. Mrs. Malik, you included 186 in there, correct? Yes.
That's good.
162, 63, 64, and 86.
All right, Council President, I'm going to move resolutions 162, 163.
Oh, I'm sorry. All right, let's do 162, 63, and 64.
I'm going to move resolution 162, 163, and 164, and ask for a second.
Second.
Mrs. Hickey?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Midachinko?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Crosby Hurling?
No for 162 and 163, and yes for 164.
Brooks?
Yes.
Byer?
Yes.
Colobus?
Yes.
Mr. Alvarez?
Yes. Mrs. Hero, let's do 186.
What exactly are the projects that they are managing with regard to this? And why isn't we getting the grants through Greener by Design, which we're also spending large amounts of money on?
The Greener by Design also assists us with our grants and our energy projects. Mueller-Bolin assists them as well. The projects that they're involved in presently, right now, are dealing with the Wood Avenue corridor, from the Safe Routes to School to the enhancement program, the $600,000 we got from the federal enhancement of the corridor, the state $300,000 on the pedestrian safety enhancement, the streetscape project, the New Jersey transit project that we're working on. They're working on the wetlands mitigation enhancement project, bringing the EDA, state and federal funding to us. They're working on, right now, discretionary Port Authority funding for our police and fire. They're in the process of working on getting additional funding for Safe Routes to School. We got the $200,000. They're working on getting us additional funds through that state and federal monies. So there's a bunch of various projects that they have down the line that they're working on that we're engaging their services to be the project manager on.
Personally, I'd like to see it done in-house, but that's just me. Thank you.
Mrs. Hero, stay up here, please. Let's go over 182.
How about did we miss 166? I mean, I'm perfectly willing to talk on 182 and go back to 166, but if you want to do 166.
Yeah, okay, 166 and 182.
Okay. Medical debt, I just read today, seems to be the largest reason why people go into bankruptcy. And I'm wondering, with regard to this company, is this with regard to people who have insurance and aren't paying it, or are we forcing our residents, maybe in a time of desperate need, to, and not being able to afford this, pressuring them into paying for things that they cannot afford, even though they desperately needed them? I tend to be sympathetic toward the poor.
Chief Dooley, for 166.
Good evening, Mrs. Hero. No, this is not coming after people like that. When we bill the insurance. There are people who try not to pay us. So that eventually, if necessary, we will send it to collections. But these are not people that are going to be the residents of Linden or who are indigent. Our policy has never been to go after people like that.
Okay, I just want to make sure that, I know sometimes insurance companies can be a little bit slow to pay, and this just addresses that situation. Okay, thank you.
Can I have a motion for 166, please?
Mrs. Malik had a question.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. I have you there, too.
Those are good questions. What I had is, but I think I had my answer here, but first off, that the ambulance, this is actually run by our fire department, so this is actually talking about debt collection, so you still go after the initial charge, and then you're just talking about the debt collection here. But isn't 20% and 45% on these, isn't this rather exorbitant?
The only answer I can give you is that these go out for RFQs, and we take the person who gives us the best deal. So
Best deal, how, the recovery rate?
Yes, well, it's the whole package of what we're recovering and what we're paying.
Okay.
So the purchasing department looks at the whole package, and they pick the best deal for Linden.
Okay, fine, thank you.
You're welcome.
Can I have a motion for 166, please?
Council President, I move resolution.
186. They both spoke on it.
Yes, 166 and 186.
All right, so I'm going to move resolution 166 and 186 and ask for a second.
Second.
Mrs. Hickey?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medichenko?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Crosby Hurling?
Yes.
Brooks?
Yes.
Byer?
Yes.
Golubus?
Yes.
Mr. Alvarez?
Yes. Let's do 169.
And I'd like to lump this also with my question that I had on the other landfill question on 188. This has been a big concern of mine that we have this closed landfill, but we have these continuing expenses. But over here it says another $26,000, but due to ongoing nature of various work, electrical testing, and preparation of bid documents. So these continuing expenses, why is there a delay in the preparation of documents? I know that we have to measure the leachate and do some of these operational procedures, but can someone explain, I mean, for this adding an additional cost, preparation of bid documents, we don't know what we need to do for this landfill? Or things are just sneaking up on us and we are kind of unprepared for how to handle mechanical or situations at the landfill?
Mr. Verchek?
This is for the leachate pump station. Everything is up and running, but they discovered that the high voltage cable from Lower Road to the pump was shorting out. So this money is going to be used to determine where the short is and to fix the cable. They have to hire a specialized outfit to do the testing. They have to have their electrical engineer on site. They have to get a backhoe operator to dig in a few spots. This is the worst case. Public Works has offered to donate their operator and cable, and if everything works out, we will save $5,000 on that. And once they determine the area of the short, whether it's 50 feet or 3,000 feet, then they will prepare bid documents and do the inspection.
Okay. Then if I can just jump ahead on 188, what I'd like to know is, there's been a lot of, after we've had the closed landfill, every year I see another $50,000, $100,000 that we're spending. We have all this ongoing expenses. Who can I go to find out, since our landfill's been closed, what is our operating costs that we've been putting out every year? Who can I go for that? to get like a summary number of what we've been spending on this closed landfill.
Like a total, you mean?
Right. Yeah, every year it's like 50,000, 100,000 or more. So what I'd like to know is...
Since the beginning to now?
Since the landfill's been capped, closed, our ongoing expenses to maintain this landfill. I'd just like to have some idea.
Right.
Does someone-
Mrs. Sack?
If I
You
can-
think we'll be able to put
if I can
something
get that.
together?
Good. Since it's been capped, thank you.
Nothing. Okay, I need a motion for 169 and 188.
I'm going to move Resolution 169 and 188 and ask for a second.
Second.
Mrs. Hickey?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Midachinko?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Crosby Hurling?
Yes.
Brooks?
Yes.
Byer?
Yes.
Colbus?
Yes.
Mr. Alvarez?
Yes. 180. Mrs. Malik again?
I'm very big in health and wellness, so I like this resolution here, but what I'd like to know is, Councilwoman Crosby Hurley, you had said something about healthy meals, whatever. What are we doing for this resolution? It's interesting, but what are our actions that we're going to have for it?
I'll give you a copy of the resolution. It's what we're supporting the Board of Education's healthy food nutrition policy that the Board of Education has in place right now. The intention is that we will actually participate in more Let's Move activities. We're going to post the My Plate on our vending machines. We're going to actually ask our vending and our concessionaires to offer healthier choices. I know at my events that I'm going to do, I'm going to always offer healthier choices. And, you know, we're going to continue to work with the health department to do health education with the visiting nurses. Oh, thank you.
And then does that also include, like in our cafeteria lunches, that's also going to change?
Well, that's what the Board of Ed already, that's been done.
Okay.
What we're trying to do is, let's say we go to a football game.
Right.
And, you know, the cheerleaders are running the concession. We're going to ask that they offer fresh fruit as an option instead of, you know,
Okay.
and
Excellent.
stuff like that.
Good, okay.
Ms. Hurling, can I have a motion for 180?
I'd like to move Resolution 180 and seek a second.
Second.
Mrs. Hickey?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Midachinko?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Crosby Hurling?
Yes.
Brooks?
Yes.
Byer?
Yes.
Colbus?
Yes.
Alvarez?
Yes. Did we do 182?
No.
I'm getting confused here. Mrs. Hero, 182.
This is regard to Boswell Engineering for the landscape design for the Wood Avenue Streetscape project, and it says, due to the ongoing nature of various work for redesign services, we're going to be spending additional funds not to exceed $14,000, and the total expenditures paid to date under the original contract is $70,350. Now, as opposed to another, I guess 191, which I'm not addressing at this time, I'm going to address it a few moments later, I guess. I don't see grant money here, although I'll address grant money on 191. What exactly is, what is the Wood Avenue Streetscape project? Is it related to the transit village? And what exactly are we getting for a large amount of money like this?
Mr. Verchek.
Boswell designed two projects, one from Morris Avenue to the railroad and one from the railroad to Blanky Street. The railroad to Blanky Street is federal funds, and the other one is all state funds. So the state funds, the plans were sent to the state right before Christmas. They approved the state funds, but the federal funds, they wanted us to make some changes for more pedestrian safety, pedestrian countdown lights, possibly lighted crosswalks, bump outs at intersections so they don't have to walk as far from one side of the street to the other. So this was not in the engineer's original scope, so this money is paying to redesign those aspects.
Oh, okay, because when you think of landscape, you think of, you know, like bushes and trees and flowers and that kind of thing. But it seems more like it's safety issues and such.
Yeah, safety issues and all new sidewalks.
Okay, thank you. Do you think all new sidewalks are necessary?
For safety, yes. There's a
Okay.
lot of tripping hazards out there.
Okay, thank you.
Can I have a motion for 182, please?
I move Resolution 182 and ask for a second.
Second.
Mrs. Hickey?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Yamakitis?
Yes.
Medichenko?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Crosby Hurling?
Yes.
Brooks? Byer?
Yes.
Kalbus?
Yes.
Mr. Alvarez?
Yes. 184, Mrs. Hero?
I'm starting to get the feeling of deja vu all over again with regard to last month's meeting. Didn't we go through this last month and it was like voted down, or am I missing something here?
Ms. Hero, I could comment on that. You are correct, it was on the agenda last meeting. It was voted down. There was some confusion over the resolution and what it did. This is just to pay an outstanding bill from McManaman Scotland in the amount of $171. So we appropriating an amendment to the resolution to increase it by $1,000. This bill is from December. But you are correct, it was on the agenda last month and it was voted down.
Okay, because the reason I'm saying that is because it does not seem to make sense for us unless it's in our contract with the developer, in which case we can't get away from it. In that, why are we paying for their expenses? Unless, of course, it's in the contract with the developer, in which case we can't get around it. Am I correct?
Yeah, in this particular case, the city is paying for McManaman's attorney fees, but you are correct. There are certain instances that when the city goes to adopt a redevelopment agreement whereby which we could reimburse some of those fees that we've incurred previously and some of the fees going forward. In this particular instance, there was a certain review of certain documents relating to certain easements and stuff like that from the Turnpike Authority. But you are correct, there are certain instances where we can recoup those fees. And when in fact that could happen, we make sure it does.
Okay, but personally, I would like to see it so that if the developer is incurring fees, that they pay those fees rather than having the city pay the fees and then get it back from the developer. Because quite frankly, the city has more than enough stuff to do without involving itself in that. Thank you.
May I have a motion for 184, please?
Move Resolution 184 and ask for a second.
Second.
Mrs. Hickey?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Yamakitis?
Yes.
Medichenko?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Crosby Hurling?
Yes.
Brooks?
Yes.
Byer?
Yes.
Kalbus?
Yes.
Mr. Alvarez?
Yes. 181, Ms. Hero?
191.
Okay, this is awarding a contract to CMS Construction for the Transit Village Streetscape Phase 3 in the city of Linden in an amount of $206,370.25. Funding is provided through a grant. I'm going to give my definition of a grant again. People think of a grant as free money. Unless it's coming from a private company, it isn't free money. If it's coming from the federal government, if it's coming from the state government, if it's coming from the county, they're getting it from the taxpayer. So when you say, oh, it's a grant, it doesn't really matter. It does. We're paying for it one way or the other, unless, of course, it comes from the private sector, like a Bill Gates computer grant. Then it's kind of free money. But other than that, it isn't. We're paying for it one way or another. So I don't think when you say it's funding is provided through a grant, and it's $206,370.25, you can say, oh, well, it's just a grant. No, some taxpayer is paying for this. But what is the Transit Village Streetscape Phase 3? And what is CMS Construction, Inc. doing for the $206,370.25?
Mr. Voracek?
That's the section between Marsh Avenue and the railroad.
Okay, but what are they doing? I mean, we already learned about Boswell Engineering, but what's the CMS Construction going to be doing for this money?
He's going to be changing all the sidewalks.
That's how much it's going to cost us to change all the sidewalks?
All that, and trees, and handicap ramps, and striping. That was the lowest of 4 bids.
Okay, thank you.
Can I have a motion for 191, please? Oh, I'm sorry, Ms. Malik.
find this kind of interesting. So this is all grant money, but sometimes when you go out for a grant, people will look at it for like a special reason that you're asking for this money. So if we're just putting in for sidewalks, handicapped, under what pretense are we able to get this grant written to supply, the $200,000 for these things that normally maybe our Public Works Department would provide? So I find it, if someone could maybe explain to me how we can get a grant for this, and it just kind of blows my mind.
Mr. Wojcik?
That's one of the advantages of being a transit village. In New Jersey, the state has special grant money set aside for those villages.
Interesting. Okay, thank you.
Can I have a motion for 191, please?
Yes, I move Resolution 191 and seek a second.
Second.
Mrs. Hickey?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Midachinko?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Crosby Hurling?
Yes.
Brooks?
Yes.
Byer?
Yes.
Kalbus?
Yes.
Mr. Alvarez?
Yes. Resolution 200. Ms. Hero?
Resolution adopting a responsible contractor policy. This is so irresistible. Are we going to go for an irresponsible contractor policy? What is a responsible contractor policy, and how does one determine whether a contractor is responsible or irresponsible?
Mayor, the mayor's busy a minute.
Can't be that busy.
Didn't we just talk about this last night? Wasn't this from last night?
Mayor, can you please take 2015-200? It's about the responsible contractor policy. Ms. Hero, I thought you would like that.
Well, I'd like to know what it's about before I decide whether I like it or not.
Okay.
Basically, it's just a resolution that says we will ensure that all work on significant public construction and maintenance contracts is performed by responsible, qualified firms that maintain the capacity, expertise, personnel, and other qualifications and resources necessary to successfully perform public contracts in a timely, reliable, and cost-effective manner. It's just a basic resolution.
Here, Ms. Hero, I got something for you to read tonight.
I will enjoy reading this because it seems to me that we give a lot of contracts on and I'm looking for the exact frame, about that they're already well qualified or whatever the particular lingo is. Yeah, extraordinary, basically, if our city attorney could help me with that language that they use, that we don't have to go out to bid because they qualify under.
Well, basically, under the local public contract law, if it's a professional service, you're exempted from going out to bid. If you're talking about an extraordinary unspecified service, that also does not have to go out to bid because on the theory that it's something that's unique, it can't be bid. Other than that, if it's not a professional service, then obviously subject to the bid threshold, it would have to go out to bid.
Exactly. So I'm going to read this and wonder if this, I'm going to have to read this before I can make up my mind, and maybe I'll address that next month. Thank you.
Thank you. Can I have a motion for 200, please?
I move Resolution 200 and ask for a second, please.
Second.
Mrs. Hickey?
No.
Medina?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Midachinko?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Crosby Hurling?
Yes.
Brooks?
No.
Byer?
Yes.
Kalbus?
Yes.
Mr. Alvarez?
Yes. 201, Ms. Malik?
I would hope that everything we do is transparent, but can someone explain to me what's included in this Transparent Tax Act of 2015?
Mr. Antonelli?
Thank you, Council President. Yeah, Ms. Malik, with regard to this resolution, right now, as everyone is aware, your tax bill is sent out by the city. However, that consists of three portions, one for the municipal tax, one for the county tax, and one for the school board. As you also are aware, the city handles tax appeals every year. And when there is a refund due a property owner, the city incurs that refund 100%. What this Transparent Act would do, and what this resolution supports, is in the event that there is a refund that the city has to issue, only the percentage of municipal tax would be refunded by the city, and then the percentage from the county and the school board would come from their budget. So right now, the city refunds 100% of whatever that refund is. So hopefully this legislation would be passed that would allow that to happen.
Wow.
I'm an accounting major by you know,
And that's
by the
major,
way,
I mean, especially
but,
since, like, our school is 50% of our tax budget. Could someone just give me some idea with the amount of refunding that we've been getting, so I have an order of magnitude of what money we've been missing in the past? I mean, 100,000, a million, couple of million? I mean, it's chump change or what?
I'm not even sure. I mean, I thought it was a pretty good answer just on the resolution. I'll have to defer to Alexis on that one.
I would just be interested in knowing, you know, not now, but if someone can get back to me later, what have we been missing out on this that, you know?
I just heard Dan say a lot.
I'd like to have that qualified.
I'll check with my tax assessor,
I
and
would
my tax
appreciate
collector,
that.
and when we meet
So I
on the
can
other
talk
items.
to people higher up on this. All right,
I'll go
thank
over
you.
with you.
May I have a motion on 201?
Yes, I move Resolution 201 and ask for a second.
Second?
Mrs. Hickey?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medichenko?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Crosby Hurling?
Yes.
Brooks?
Yes.
Byer?
Yes.
Kalbus?
Yes.
Mr. Alvarez?
Yes. Last but not least, 203. Mrs. Hero.
We're appointing Eric Bernstein Esquire for a representation of the mayor and certain members of the governing body at the originally agreed-upon sum not to exceed $5,000. Now, I know we had an ethics board investigation, which I was very sad about because I don't like people being confronted without the opportunity to know who's their accuser. But is this regard to the ethics board investigation, or if not, what is it with regard to?
Ms. Hero, you are correct. This is the matter before the local finance board. And what this resolution does, it amends the previous resolution appointing Eric Bernstein to represent certain of the council members involved with the matter, but it adds former members, council members Adam Kaczynski and Rich Cozio. It was my recommendation. I thought it was appropriate and fair. While they are no longer on council, they were involved in that situation, and I thought it was the right thing to do to add them to the resolution. That matter is pending before the board.
I agree with you. It is the right thing to do, and I'm glad that you're doing that. Okay, thank you.
Can I have a motion on 203?
I move Resolution 203 and ask for a second.
Second?
Mrs. Hickey?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medichenko?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Crosby Hurling?
Yes.
Brooks?
Yes.
Byer?
Yes.
Kalbus?
Yes.
Mr. Alvarez?
Yes. Ordinances on first reading. We'll announce the ordinance number 59-19. Mr. Bodek?
An ordinance to amend and supplement Chapter 7 Traffic, Section 7-12, Parking Time Limited, shall be amended to the following. Add 7-12.1 2-hour parking, Southwood Avenue, East Side, from 5 a.m. to 3 p.m., Monday through Friday.
Any comments? Will be no questions, just comments on first readings. Anybody wants to make a comment? Need a motion?
Council President, I ask for introduction of ordinance 59-19 and ask for a second, please.
Second.
Mrs. Hickey?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Minurchenko?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Brooks?
Yes.
Byer?
Yes.
Colibus?
Yes.
Mr. Alvarez?
Yes. 59-20.
An ordinance to amend and supplement Chapter 7 Traffic, Section 7-33, Handicap Parking Regulations shall be amended as follows. Add to 7-22.1A, Handicap Parking on Street. Add 2609 Grasselli Avenue for 108 Buchanan Street and 132 Irene Street.
Any comments on 59-20? May I have a motion, please?
Council President, I ask for introduction of ordinance 59-20 and ask for a second, please.
Second.
Mrs. Hickey?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Minurchenko?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Brooks?
Yes.
Byer?
Yes.
Colibus?
Yes.
Mr. Alvarez?
Yes. 59-21, please.
Bond ordinance providing an appropriation of $38,500 for the acquisition of firefighting equipment for the fire department and authorizing the issuance of $36,575 in bonds or notes to finance part of the cost.
Any comments on 59-21? May I have a motion?
Council President, I move for introduction of ordinance 59-21 and request a second.
Second.
Mrs. Hickey?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Minurchenko?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Brooks?
Yes.
Byer?
Yes.
Colibus?
Yes.
Mr. Alvarez?
Yes. 59-22, please.
Bond ordinance providing an appropriation of $2,200,000 for acquisition of radio communication systems for the police department and authorizing the issuance of $2,090,000 in bonds or notes to finance part of the cost.
Anybody has any comments? May I have a motion, please?
I'm gonna make a motion to introduce ordinance 59-22 and ask for a second.
Second.
Mrs. Hickey?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Minurchenko?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Brooks?
Yes.
Byer?
Yes.
Colibus?
Yes.
Mr. Alvarez?
Yes. 59-23, please.
Bond ordinance authorizing various capital improvements for the engineering department, appropriating $478,500 and authorizing the issuance of $454,575 in bonds or notes to finance part of the cost.
Anybody has comments on 59-23? Can I have a motion, please?
Yeah, I'd like the motion for 59-23, and I seek a second.
Second.
Mrs. Hickey?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Minurchenko?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Brooks?
Yes.
Byer?
Yes.
Colibus?
Yes.
Mr. Alvarez?
Yes. 59-24, please.
An ordinance to amend an ordinance entitled, an ordinance establishing a schedule of titles, salary ranges, and regulations for maintaining the classification and salary standardization plan of all employees of the City of Linden, passed August 15th, 1995, and approved August 16th, 1995, add Schedule 4, JJ4.
Does anybody have any comments on 59-24? Can I have a motion, please?
Council President, I'd like to introduce ordinance 59-24 and seek a second.
Second.
Mrs. Hickey?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Minurchenko?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Brooks?
Yes.
Byer?
Yes.
Colibus?
Yes.
Mr. Alvarez?
Yes. 59-25, please.
An ordinance to amend and supplement Chapter 16 Solid Waste Management as follows. Section 16-2.3 Containers for Garbage and Refuse Disposal.
Any comments on 25? Can I have a motion?
You got a comment, Mr. President?
Oh, Ms. Hero? Ms. Malik, you too? No, okay.
I know we can't answer any questions on this, but I will make some comments. I can't imagine that a 90-gallon cart wouldn't be sufficient enough, but I guess there are some people that might need more. But as I understood it, and I was here back in the day, there was supposed to be two size carts. There was supposed to be a smaller cart, like a maybe 60 or something, and then there was supposed to be a 90. I know because I was there. And it seems to me a lot of people can't handle, as I understand from word on the street, a 90-gallon cart, but a 60-gallon cart may be a little bit more manageable. And I'm just hoping that people would have the option, if you're going to go to two-size carts, that they would have the option to exchange their cart rather than being forced to pay an additional $60 to get another cart. That's just what I'm going to say, and I'll probably get a copy of this ordinance, so I'll be able to speak about it a little bit more knowledgeably next month. Thank you.
Ms. Hero, you know something that deserves a comment. Mr. Vendito, can you give us a comment on what Ms. Hero just told us?
Well, definitely, if we get to another size cart, to implement the process, it's been painstaking. To implement it, every company we've talked to, every other municipality has instructed us, said, stay with 95 till you get your feet wet, till you get started. We understand that the carts are heavy because they're 95 gallons, but it's only once a week collection when you go to that. So some people, the reason for this is for the people, there are households that require more room for 1 week. You know, if you're living alone, it's one thing, so you would want a smaller cart. That fee will probably be very close to this, okay? If and when we go to a smaller size cart, you would absolutely be an exchange. It wouldn't be, that $60 is just if you wanted an additional one, okay? And that's pretty much cost, okay? So that's why that's what the price is, okay?
Ms. Hero, the ordinance is right here. Can I have a motion for 59-25, please?
I'd like to move ordinance 5925 for introduction and ask for a second.
Second.
Mrs. Hickey?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Minorchenko?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Brooks?
Yes.
Fire?
Yes.
Colibus?
Yes.
Mr. Alvarez?
Yes.
Okay, comments from the members of the public in attendance on city business only, no personal, political, or derogatory comments. If there's anyone who did not get a chance to sign in the sheet to speak at this time, please come up and sign in. We're going to change something a little bit different. I will ask for a motion to close the comments after everybody has spoken. Then I'm going to let the council answer. I was told that, you know, some people do deserve an answer. I just don't want to see going back and forth. So public will come up, they will speak, I will get a motion, we will close it, and then the council will respond to a lot of the comments you have done, if you want so. So let's start with Ms. Hira.
You know, there's only been one person who's been here through the whole 11 years. April is my anniversary month that I've been speaking at city council meetings. And in many ways, April is one of the more poignant months that I view my life here at city council meetings. Because I was a little bit trepidatious about coming to speak before a city council meeting. I didn't like the fact that they were closing 2 branch libraries without any notice to the public. That's what brought me here. Only one person here was there when I started 11 years ago. And only one person was here 2 weeks from today when I wasn't here. One person was here when they announced that my cousin had passed away. They just came into a city council meeting. I was home making some phone calls. I didn't find out till the next morning. When somebody passes away, you pay attention because it is very, very painful. And somehow I think we failed to pay attention tonight. We failed to pay attention not to the fact a friend of mine passed away 2 months ago. That's really not important. It is important to me, and it is kind of what brings me to know so much about remembered what happened 11 years ago, because sudden death is never, never easy to deal with. Death is never easy to deal with, but sudden death is even harder to deal with, because you're in such a state of shock, you still can't believe it. You don't want to believe it, and it's unbelievable that it happened. And yet you're forced to deal with the unbelievable and start to learn how to accept the unacceptable. But somehow we failed to pay notice that Frank Viggiano passed away 1 month and 1 day ago. And that seems to me to be rather unacceptable, because the one thing you want is to keep that person's memory alive. You want to remember how they are, who they were to you, and how hard it is to let go. Grief is a process of letting go, and grief is something that we all have to deal with. We have to deal with it with the police department. We have to deal with it as a community. And we have to embrace the people who have lost individuals and loved ones. And it's very, very difficult for the people who lost people not to even acknowledge the fact that their loved one has gone. You know, the circumstances of how the person died isn't really that important. What happened, happened. Some of the things that have gone on will be addressed in future times. But when someone dies suddenly, it should be acknowledged, because it's important to the people who lost people. And I guarantee that when I got online and started to read about things, it made me so upset. I went to both wakes, because I knew how important it was when my cousin died, for all that support. I'm still getting that support 11 years later. I just talked about my cousin's death this day, and it helps. It helps to talk about it. And even more important to the people, it helps to listen. They say when you grieve, it's important to tell your story over and over and over again. It's this way of trying to make sense of it, of having it sink in, because it isn't easy. And the best thing a person can do is be supportive to those who lost loved ones. And I guarantee you, you should write their, if you know the family well enough, write the date that the person died on the calendar, and a year later call, because that's important to the family. If you work with somebody, it's important to talk about it. Maybe plant a tree, do something in their memory. Don't let that person be forgotten. There'll be times to address other issues, but you know what? When someone loses somebody, the important thing is to come alongside them, embrace them, talk about it, make sure they're not forgotten, because that's the hardest thing it is to think that they're going to be forgotten. And I want to let the family know that Frank Viggiano and Joseph Rodriguez won't be forgotten. I just want to thank you for your time. Good night.
Thank you for the beautiful words, Mrs. Hero. Ms. Malik? No. Thank you. At this point, I need a motion to close the public speaking section. Jeez, I can't say. Need a motion?
I'm waiting to close the meeting.
Motion.
Second.
Mrs. Hickey?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medichenko?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Crosby Hurling?
Yes.
Brooks?
Yes.
Byer?
Yes.
Kalbus?
Yes.
Alvarez?
Yes. Any will be last comments, 1 minute per every council person and the mayor. Let's start with Mrs. Hickey.
Well, I just want to add to the words that we just heard, that this has been a very, very difficult time for everyone, horrific. Many of us aren't allowed to speak on anything. However, as far as the families of all the victims that were involved in that day, our hearts do go out to all of them. And certainly, they will, the ones that did pass away, Joey and Frank, certainly our city will find a way to keep them remembered and in our hearts. And everyone knows our hearts are broken to all their families. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other councilman that wants to say something?
You know, I had all intentions, Ms. Harrow, to come up here and speak with this, but I found it hard, because when I was campaigning, I ran into Frank's uncle, Frank. He was actually a resident of the 7th Ward when he lived on 16th Street, and he talked very highly of him. And I also came up to with all intentions of honoring Joe Rodriguez, who happens to be a resident of the 7th Ward, and everybody knows, and his whole family, how big of a Raider fan he was. And I bring it up here and wanted to dedicate my speech to him, but I just couldn't do it. I mean, and I'm very sorry to the family and to Joe, and we all miss him a lot. So thank you for bringing that point up, and Joe, this is for you. End the comment, Mr.
Thank you, Councilman. Mayor?
I just want to echo Councilman Hickey's sentiment. We're all grieving here. We still are. It was probably, in my political career, one of the one of the worst days in my life politically. And I hope not to see another day like it again. Joey Rodriguez, that family, he's related to the Simonis on the other side of the US 1. I've known that family all my life. Frank Vigiano, you know, as I mentioned before, the one time I called for a driver, Frank was the one who drove me, and I got a chance I got a chance to know him for about an hour and a half, because that was the extent of our drive. And I'm very thankful that I had a few minutes to get a chance to know that young man. That experience has taught me that whenever I'm on the campus here and I see a young police officer and I have the time, I walk over and have a few words with him, because, you know, all too often we see each other in passing and we don't speak and we don't say anything to them, and that's something that we need to try to avoid. We need to try to speak and talk to each other as often as we possibly can and get to know each other. And I'm just thankful that I got a chance to spend a little bit of time with that young man. My heart goes out to the other two officers, regardless of the situation. They have families, they're in the hospital, and our prayers are with them as well. But again, like the other council members here, it's very difficult, and sometimes we just like to, I had hoped to get through this council meeting without even discussing it, because you know what, we discuss it and we talk about it enough during our daily activity. There's not a day that goes by that I don't get a phone call from some news agency asking me questions, and some of the questions are good, some of them are, a lot of them are just not good. So it's not a day that goes by that we don't think about those young men and the tragedy that them and their families have suffered. And I don't think that we're ever going to forget them, truth be told. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. The following council meetings will be as follows. Council conference meeting prior to the council meeting, Tuesday, April 28, 2015 at 6:30 p.m. in the council conference room, City Hall, 301 Northwood Avenue. Council meeting Scouting Government, Tuesday, April 28, 2015 at 7 p.m. in the council chamber, City Hall, 301 North Avenue. In case you didn't understand me because I'm speaking so fast, the Boy Scouts will be running this city next Tuesday. So come down and let's have a good time, because I'm sure we'll do a better job. Thank you, everybody. I need motion for an adjournment.
Motion.
Second.
Mrs. Hickey?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Yamikaitis?
Yes.
Midachinko?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Brooks?
Yes.
Byer?
Yes.
Kalbus?
Yes.
Mr. Alvarez?
Yes, meeting adjourned.